and Messages of Inspirational Stories proudly presents Vanya Kusick Foundation Leadership and Communication Summit in association with the 6-Minute Webinar and E360 TV. Broadcasting live from E360 TV studios to Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, Periscope, Twitch, YouTube Live, and Facebook Live streaming. Be sure and register at the 6minutewebinar.com/communication-summit. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How are you today? Welcome to the Leadership and Communication Summit 2021 put on by Vanya Kusick Foundation. But I've got to bring a couple people on board first to be able to share a little information how all this came about. The first gentleman I'd like to invite to the stage is Mr. Don McGrath. Hey,
Thank you
Don.
so much, Jim. Thank you so much for having me today. And I'm so excited for the Leadership and Communication Conference that we're putting on today. So a little bit about myself. So leadership, I was a corporate leader for 30 years. And so I'm hoping to learn something from the experts that we bring in today. I'll share some of the things that I've learned. And in communication, 6-minute webinar. You and I founded Speakers Pathway. So we've been really focused on communication. So I'm really looking forward to sharing some of the things that I've learned and also learning from some of the experts we've assembled today.
Absolutely. And the other co-creator of the 6-minute webinar is a gentleman by the name of Mr. Bill Heinrich. Don, I think Bill, he's the dean of the 6-minute webinar, isn't he?
He is. He's just he's probably created more 6-minute webinars than anyone on the planet.
Welcome to the stage, sir. Good morning.
Good morning, Jim. I'm so happy to be here for this Clarity and Leadership Clarity and Communication Summit. Clarity is something that everyone struggles with, and the 6-minute webinar is something that really helps you narrow it down and have a very succinct, special message that everyone understands. So it's great to be here with you and Dawn, and I'm excited about all the speakers we have today.
It really is, and thank you so much because ladies and gentlemen, that 6-minute webinar, that thing is what created this summit. And it wasn't a master plan at all. I was going to be speaking at Vanya Summit back in April, and I did. And I thought, wow, how can I put on a great presentation and be able to be clear and all that? So I took the 6-minute webinar and I created my presentation. And little did I know what the end result of that would be. I just wanted to put together a great presentation. And here we are today. And there's another young lady we need to bring to the stage, Vanya Kusick. I think you folks out there in TV land know a lot about her with her foundation, the wonderful work that she does. Welcome to the stage, young lady. How are you?
I am absolutely great. Thank you so much. And very good morning to you, gentlemen, and very good afternoon to everybody else around the globe, and good evening to India. Thank you so much for being here, and let me being here with you guys. Thank you so much.
Well, it's our honor to have you with us because you and I, we're kind of like the two catalysts that got this whole thing going, didn't we?
Absolutely. I mean, I must say you are the person who gave us the idea that this is the thing we should move with ahead, and let's aware everybody with 6-minute webinar as well as our organization, as well as let's help everybody, every youth with the technology.
Because Don, after the summit was over, and my only goal, ladies and gentlemen, was just to put together a great presentation and be right on point and not abuse the time as a speaker, and goof up the schedule for everybody else. And so afterwards, as a thank you, I decided to give Vanya, I walked her through a 6-minute webinar, Don. And, you know, ladies and gentlemen, every time someone experiences the 6-minute webinar, when they get the 6-minute webinar in their inbox and their email and they start reading it, the most common word that I hear in response is wow.
Wow, and I'm blown away. Those are
Yeah.
a couple of comments.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that was my first reaction as well. It was like, wow, this is something new, different, and amazing. Truly.
Mhm.
So yes, I'm truly hoping that everybody who will be the audience of ours, going to love
Yeah.
it. Absolutely.
So Jim brought us together. He said, you know, Vanya loves the 6-minute webinar. You guys ought to talk. So Bill and I got on the phone with Vanya and Jim, and we were talking about, hey, you know, how can we do something together? Vanya's foundation does such incredible work in leadership and in communication around the world. And that's what came out. This is what came out
Yeah,
of it. Right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
So in that case, I must tell our audience that what our foundation actually working on, and let me introduce myself as well. So this is Vanya Kaushik Bhardwaj. I'm from India. I'm an entrepreneur, social worker, and as well as owns a brand that few work with the celebrities of fashion industries, and also did few channels, TV serials, and also worked with royal family of Rajasthan here in India, and received few awards, recognition around the globe. And also now talking about the Vanya Kaushik Foundation, which I own, is working for water conservation and rainwater harvesting plantation in the rural areas where drought hit the ground every next 3 years. So that's what we are working on. And Vanya Kaushik Foundation actually working with Prayas Kendra Sansthan, Rajasthan, Harsoli. So they are doing such a great job. I mean, I can't even tell you the volunteers who are working there are giving everything to the society. So that's truly amazing, and definitely you will get to know more about us and the Prayas Kendra Sansthan with our website. Thank you so much.
And I'd like to just mention that Mr. Aaron Hymas, the president of E360 TV, is broadcasting this from the studios there. He's in master control. And I just want to give a shout out to Aaron for all of his hard work. Thank you so much, Aaron, and all the good people at E360 TV, because you donated everything. And we just want to give a shout out to you and thank you so much for seeing the value in Vanya's Summit. And we really appreciate you and having us being selected as a TV show. We're honored to be here too. We're also donating everything, the time and that sort of thing. But the mission here is to provide good information to you folks for the benefit of not only Vanya's foundation, but also you too, because you're going to get some fantastic information today. It's going to put so much value in your life. You'll be glad that you're here.
So we're here because we've seen a problem.
Yes, amen.
We've seen a problem. The problem is that there's wonderful organizations like Vanya's. There's wonderful businesses. There's wonderful educational institutions. The problem is that often the value of that isn't communicated.
Right.
So that it doesn't become what it can best become. So that's why we wanted to hold this summit, and that's why we created this 6-minute webinar, because what it does is it helps you get a very precise, well-crafted message that speaks directly to your ideal audience with a powerful message and a call to action.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Because remember, ladies and gentlemen, that the very first time that we created the 6-minute webinar, it was designed just to be able to get your information on your product or your service, whatever it is, to your ideal client. I just decided out of the clear blue, I'm going to use this for my presentation. So the only limitations on the 6-minute webinar is in the canyons of your mind. Mr. Bill, I think you were wanting to say something, sir.
Well, yes, I did. I wanted to just speak briefly about the results. We've been working with the 6-minute webinar now for over a year and have put it through multiple proof of concepts and have it narrowed down. It is so powerful. And the key to it is we've created a framework, and all you do is answer some questions that get plugged into this framework, and it creates a miraculous tool for clarity. And with that, the script gets printed automatically by our new best friend. And Dawn, I'll let you introduce our new best friend.
Yeah, Script Pal. So in this year-long development, what Bill and we were doing boot camps about once a month. And one thing we discovered is that there's kind of two key pieces. One is the framework, and then the other is the content that goes in the framework. So there's 12 stages or layers to the framework. And we were having a very hard time teaching the framework and then how to complete the content. So one day I woke up at 4:00 in the morning and I said, aha, I know how to craft this. I'm an engineer. So I went and created this script that you answer about 40 questions, and it creates the framework. So
Oh, yeah.
we no longer had to teach the framework, Bill, right?
The challenge that we all have, that we had and everyone else had, is when we speak about what we do, how we serve other people, we serve in many different areas. We don't just serve one thing, whether it's myself, you, Vanya's foundation, what Jim's doing with his TV shows. We're focusing on many different areas, and it gets lost as we speak about it, right, Don? So we end up giving lots of confusing information that gets all interwoven, but we're speaking from our perception rather than the perception of what the client or the person that we're speaking to needs to hear. So why don't you just speak a little bit about that framework, Don?
Yeah, I'll give you a quick example. So Bill and I just did a technology demonstration this past Tuesday, and one of the folks that showed up, we said, tell us, what do you do? And he said, well, I've got a podcast. I teach people how to monetize their podcast, and I work with authors, and I do books, and I'm a publisher. And we were like, zzz. So, basically your eyes roll back in your head when you've got just you get confused. So what we conveyed over the course of about 2 hours was how for her to focus on one thing and to very clearly communicate that and show her value, and then have a call to action around that. So that's kind of an example, but the framework, and we're going to share more about we're going to go deeper into the framework during a technology demonstration we'll do later, but there are 12 different steps that bring you through. And the first part, I'll just do the first one, is the introduction. And the whole purpose is to capture the attention of your ideal audience and repel everyone who's not. Welcome to the webinar where I will share with you 3 keys to weight loss. To repel everyone who doesn't want to lose weight, and you're going to attract everyone who does.
Yeah, and it's so critical to speak to that one individual. And in the framework with these 12 critical steps that we have in it that must be in there in order for you to create an emotional presentation and a powerful call to action, you have to answer the questions very simply, right, Don?
Yeah. When we do our boot camps, people go, bah, 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 right? And they have these big, long things because they want to share everything about themselves. And we're like, no, 3 words. You got 3 words for this one.
And when we do the boot camps, which we do a boot camp once a month, and when we do them, the fascinating thing to me is the people that have the greatest appreciation for what we do in the 6-minute webinar are the people that have the most business experience in talking about their business, because it hones it down, it targets it in. We had one fellow that we worked with, Rennie Gabriel, who was like, I've been trying to find this answer for 40 years and could never put my finger on it. And it's our framework that did it. So once you've answered the question simply, it puts you in a position to use what you've created in many different areas with an ageless, timeless message, right, Don?
Absolutely. And so that's
Yeah.
why we're
Wow.
here. That's how this was created. And we have 3 different days. Today is really focused on education. So I'm very excited to hear what some of the experts in education have to say about the problems that they've faced in leadership and communication.
Amen.
Because that's going to, I think it's going to foster some great conversation around how do we better serve? How do we better serve?
We'll actually be doing an example of a 6-minute webinar that an educator created later on in the show. But this is one of the most fascinating things about the 6-minute webinar, because everything we do in life has an objective to it. And in the 6-minute webinar, we refer to that objective as a call to action. So whether you're an educator, no matter, if you have a problem at home, if you're just trying to figure something out, your call to action is the answer that you're looking for. And the 6-minute webinar takes you through 12 steps that allows you to break it out and get very clear on what you want to get accomplished.
One thing that we've become really, really good at is making complex things simple. And one of our tenets around the 6-minute webinar is, in order to move someone to action, you only need 3 things. They need to be your right audience. You have to speak with them with the right message that demonstrates your value and credibility. And then you have to give them a call to action. What they need, that's it. And we get all caught up with all other kinds of things in the 6-minute webinar. It just brews that. It makes it simple and easy to put that together.
Absolutely. And we're getting ready. I got to bring another young lady here to the stage, our wonderful, my good friend, Michelle Moras. And I got to tell you a story before I bring Michelle here. Michelle Moras, she's going to be our MC today. But ladies and gentlemen, one time I called her up. I do 5 live TV shows a week, 1 live radio show a week. Me and Mr. Bill handled that one there. But I called her up one time and I said, Michelle, I really would like to have you on my TV show because I know her story, the tragedy she went through from that horrible accident she was in and her recovery that she still lives with today. And it's such a beautiful lady she is. She says, Jim, I would love to be on your show, but there's one condition. And I thought, okay. She says, I want you to be a guest on my TV show in the Philippines. And I thought, okay, I can do that. And the beauty of it is that's the kind of people that we have in our family here with Vanya, Bill, Don, and that's the kind of people that you have to have in your life that look for ways to put value in your life. They're the kind of people that you want in your life because they bring happiness, joy, and jubilee. And saying all those wonderful things, so I did not embarrass this beautiful young lady. Let me put Bill and Don backstage there and make a little room here. And if I don't think they're nice guys. They won't. Okay, here. Ooh, we got so many people here. I'm looking for her. There she is. There she is. She's waving at me. There she is. Hello, Michelle. How you doing? Whoops. I think we both clicked at the same time. Hi, Michelle. How you doing?
Or good evening
morning.
and good afternoon.
I tell you, that was really a wonderful way that you accepted my invite to the TV show. And you said there's going to be one condition. I'm going like, okay, and to invite me on a TV show. I mean, that's just, that just shows you what a class lady this young lady is. She's going to be our MC today, and I'm going to be helping her because actually she's going to be helping me. That's normally the way things work in life.
Helping together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my goodness.
We are a team, so yes, we are helping all each other. So that's the main point. So let's start the summit, I guess.
Yes, Dr. Sophie Nubani is with us today, and I tell you right now, Dr. Sophie Nubani, I've had her on the TV show, ladies and gentlemen, and oh my goodness gracious. She's a wonderful lady. She's a coach, she's a trainer, she's a speaker, and I'm going to remove myself. Let me do some techie stuff here, and also I'm going to leave you here by yourself here for just a moment here, if I can. I've got some people in the back office there trying to help me too, and let me add her here.
There's Dr. Sophie.
There she is. And let me do this here. Go ahead and click me off here. Let you.
So I can introduce Dr. Sophie. Our keynote today is Dr. Sophie Nubhani. She's, well, as Jim already said, you're an interpersonal executive coach, a public speaker, international creative mindset strategist, and an NLP trainer. She has 2 honorary doctorates, one in divinity and one in the philosophy in metaphysics. Can't wait for you to talk. She's a 3-time best-selling author and the founder of the Circle of Creative Masters Institute and the Athena Coaching Program. So she's also the co-host of it's an online live show called Wisdom Cafe. If you want to learn more, because after you hear her talk, you're going to want to learn more, go to the page, read her bio, because this woman is quite incredible and she does so many amazing things. So please welcome our award-winning best-selling author and everything else she does, Dr. Sophie Nubhani.
Oh, blessings, blessings. Thank you so much. What a beautiful start. I was listening in to everything and all the information that they were sharing on the 6-minute webinar and, Avenia's Foundation. And Jim is just an amazing, beautiful soul to follow through media. And I'm happy to meet you with all the great things I've heard about you. And this is how we really connect. And this is how we grow. And this is how we share, contribute, and evolve as a community, societies, and global influence that we can all share collectively on one area of good intentions for the betterment of all. So thank you so much for this amazing introduction.
Thank you. And please enjoy, everyone, Dr. Sophie Nubhani.
Hello. And today, of these 3 amazing days of our ongoing Leadership and Communication Summit, is geared towards educators. And this is a near and dear subject to my heart because I feel so much the power of the words of Nelson Mandela, that education is truly the only way that we can have true change happen in the world. And looking at some amazing leaders, and maybe starting with him, since I really quoted him with his, most powerful weapon of any change is education. There's one thing that really sparked my curiosity is like when you read a quote about somebody, you kind of also want to learn more about their background and what really was so attractive about what they said, and if what they said really matched their actions and that was congruent with what they are teaching or preaching or trying to embed in people's lives. And one of the cool things that was absorbed and he was shared about him is that he would go with his father to tribal meetings, and there was 2 things that he came out with and shared. One was that they all sat in a circle, and the second was that his father always was the last to speak. And we always talk about active listening as a very important tool in leadership and communication. And this is a very good anchor to remind yourself, if I was the one to speak last and really practice that, you will start to listen more actively, listen to understand and not to just answer, right? So those are some things that we can pick from amazing leaders, is traits and teachings that really was very absorbent, that they took to their own lives, and that really made them very, very known to all of us. And one of the things we all know about Nelson Mandela is that he was imprisoned for 27 years. And by the time he came out, he was a very fast having impactful messages around the world, and leaders really respecting him for his humanity and love of peace and teachings and so forth. And since today is on leadership and communication, then we need to understand the power of communication and the power of communicating in simple ways, like I just heard a little bit earlier, because I really think that is really very important. And Richard Feynman, the Nobel Prize for Physics winner, had once said, if you can't explain something in simple terms, you don't understand it. And we heard about, if you can't explain something for an 8-year-old, then you need to revise what you are trying to explain. And we're going back to simplicity, because that is most effective communication are very simple. And that does not mean that we don't advance in our lives and we don't seek growth and transcendence and self-transcendence. However, it just means that whatever we learn, that we learn how to really be able to explain it in more simple terms so others can understand it. Communication is very vital and very important. Leaders have traits such as confidence, they're visionaries, they are, decision makers, they can improvise, they can delegate, and they have good communication skills, of which, if they did not have good communication skills, none of the above really would manifest or exist for them. Imagine a leader in a company who has very high IQ, did a lot of tests and did great in every single one of them. All his written words are amazing. But then when he spoke to his employees or spoke to his people, he was not being able to deliver clearly. They were not able to understand him. You see, so leaders who have create more leaders have the ability to really be effective in their communication skill. And we have, physical communication skills, linguistic communication skills, and we have like social and emotional communication skills, which are very important in today's time. And for educators especially, emotional intelligence is really important to really start teaching about and really leading with, as well as spiritual intelligence and cross-cultural intelligence, due to the very fast pace of growing in technology. Those who are going to have interpersonal skills are going to really advance a lot faster in many things, because a lot of jobs are going to be replaced. A lot of jobs with physical, like truck driving, stuff like that, will be replaced with artificial intelligence. However, for human success and for the things that cannot be replaced, using our own human intuitiveness, creativity, and so forth, will require interpersonal skills and good communication. So leadership is very important part. And when we become very competent and confident in what we're doing, we definitely need to accompany that with good communication skills, both written and spoken skills. We see our generation now, a lot of the Gen Zs, millennials, and even alphas are starting, text messaging. They're so good at it. They don't want to even talk on the phone. They'd rather text. And we see more of it coming up. And if we as educators and don't pay attention to the importance of also the spoken words, not just the written, by providing the tools, audio, video, presentations, seminars, summits like this, to really enhance and advance their comprehension and their more familiarity, and allow them time to actually practice and give them feedback to develop such skills, is going to be very crucial and vital in our today's times, especially with our biggest pandemic that we have faced and are facing still. And many are still dealing with a lot of issues in the transition part, because some went back to school completely. Some are still hybrid between, doing some, have a choice between, internet or showing up and so forth. And so the ability to help the emotional part and social part of that for students, allow them to feel more cared for and listened to, because most of the times
Dr. Soni, pardon me, your mic just went dead. It got muted or whatever. Your microphone. We can't hear you. Can you hear me? You may have to put another quarter in that thing, okay? I don't know. Can you say something? I don't know what happened to your mic. No, I'm sorry. We can't hear you. No. Let me check your mic settings right quick. Everything looks good on this side, but it doesn't show that you're muted or anything, but something happened there. You want to just take your earbuds out and just speak directly into the computer. That might solve it. No, still can't hear you. Well, I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, we're having a little technical difficulties. This happens with life, and I'm going to ask Michelle to come back on board. Dr. Sophie, if you can hang around and we get that fixed, we want to bring you back on. We just apologize for that. So, one of those technical things that's above and beyond my understanding how those things work. But Dr. Sophie, we'll be right back with you in just a few moments, okay? And let me bring our beautiful young lady. I call all young ladies, because they're all much younger than I am. And every now and then we have technical difficulties. But Michelle, I was really enjoying her speech there. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm hoping she signs out and comes right back in again, because then that would be phenomenal. We can hear her.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're a little bit ahead of schedule, but I'm going to invite Dr. Don McGrath to the stage.
Yes.
And he's going to, call on the individuals, and let's just call him up here. Here he is. There's Dr. Don. How you doing?
Hey, I'm
How
back.
are you, sir? You
Really
are back.
good.
Yeah.
Really good. I'm very excited to hear from our panel.
Yes. And share a little bit about the panel, if you would, there, Don.
I think, Michelle, can you introduce the panel?
Yes, we have 5 panelists, and we have, Dawn and of course Bill will they'll be moderating it, and each of the panelists will have 2 minutes to share a bit of their, what they want to talk about with the leadership and communication and education piece of what they know. And the first one is Fadilma Malani Shezza. Oh my goodness, I am so sorry, Fadila. And then there's Ravishnakar Kumar, Jean Max Tavares, Professor Dr. Shiv Kumar. Nope, I'm torturing all your names. I apologize. Kakavarti, and then Dr. Krishna Kant Gupta. And then each of them, they all have a different segment of the educational world. And, we've got from the World Voice Organization, Fadalma Shasla. And then we have Air Kumar, Space Exploration Program. And then Jean Max Tavares is a professor and PhD holder of international author from Brazil. We have Professor Chakravarti, who's a visiting advisor and researcher from the Manav Rashna International University. And then we have Dr. Krishna, who is the principal at the Agarwal PG College of Balagbra. I will stop that because I know you will all introduce yourselves and say your names properly. And I look forward to the panel. And Don, have fun sharing and asking questions. And wherever Bill is, let's see if Bill comes on. And you all have 2 minutes each to share your thoughts on the subject. And then there'll be a little quick Q&A for about a minute right afterwards.
So let's kick it off with Dr. Shiv Kumar Chakravarti. We'd love for you to take 2 minutes and share with us a thought on leadership and communication with respect to education. Shiv, Dr. Shiv, are you there? Okay, well let's go to Fadila. Are you on? Fadila, I see your picture. Can you hear me? Fadila? Okay, let's take a right turn again. Let's go to Christian Kant. Christian, 2 minutes, share a thought that you have about leadership communication with respect to education.
Thank you. Am I audible?
Yes.
Hi, friends. I welcome you all to the Leadership Communication Summit 2021, sponsored by Vanya Kaushik Foundation in association with 6 Minute Webinar and E360 TV, and hope you all are safe and healthy. A leader has to lead, and you cannot lead effectively unless you communicate elegantly. I use the word elegant in the sense that it is used in science, the fastest way to achieve a goal using the least amount of energy. A leader has to be dynamic and visionary and has certain goals to achieve. And for that, he should have a clear vision with a reply to some questions like what, why, when, whom, where, and how. A leader needs a team, but remember, coming together is a beginning, keeping together is progress, and working together is success. For this, he has to communicate with his peers and stakeholders. And most importantly, in communication, using the right words and sentences at the right time can inspire, acknowledge, intrigue, validate, and include rather than exclude others. A single word can change your mood for better or worse. A single sentence will give you a reason to move towards or away from someone who is speaking. As an academic leader, his conduct, character, commitment, courage, confidence, compassion, consistent matters a lot. He has to be fair to everyone, meanness to none. He has to be courteous, should think new, big, and out of the box. He should take collective and collegial decisions and promote a culture of I to we. If there is a culture of I to we, illness changes to wellness. And as a communicator, he should be very clear, concise, concrete, correct, coherent, and a good listener with a feeling what you say or do means a lot to me. As a collaborator, he should have the perspective to see, identify, recognize, and channelize the potential of his peers. He should promote decentralization and delegation with full trust and, of course, a strict whistle. Anybody can cry, criticize, complain, compare, and condemn, and many people do it. But it is the character, effective communication, and self-control of a true leader that makes him one. Thus, a person with such attributes and the right attitude with gratitude, attitude is a must, but it should be with gratitude, emerges as a great academic leader taking an organization to Acme. So I personally believe that with all these attributes which I have described, if a leader has, then he can guide the institution or an organization to the path of success. Thank you.
So Bill, do you have a follow-up question? If not, I have one.
Well, there was so many wonderful things said. Thank you, Krishan. You covered so many different points, but go ahead, Don.
So one thing you said really struck me. It's the right word at the right time. The right word at the right time. And I thought that was really brilliant. So can you give some guidance, like how can someone decide whether it's the right word at the right time?
Yeah, because you have to work with your peers, and you can, as a leader, you can assess the situation very well. So what you have my first slide, I showed that a leader should have the clear reply to certain questions: what, why, how, when, to whom. So he should clearly assess the situation, and accordingly he should talk with his peers so that they can understand him and they can act accordingly.
So it really comes down to knowing your audience, right? In a nutshell, knowing your audience and speaking in their language. That's absolutely brilliant. So really appreciate that. Bill, anything else?
No, I really like the part about including all of the people that you're leading so that they feel part of the overall mission. That's very important, isn't it, Krishan?
All right. Well, thank you very much. We need to move along. We might make sure everybody gets their shot. Fadila, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Fadila? You're muted, Fadila.
Yes,
Can
hello
you hear me?
everyone. Yes, Mr. John, I can hear you.
Okay. Can you share with us 2 minutes a
Hello.
thought that you have on leadership and communication with respect to education?
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. John McGrath, and then thank you so much to wonderful panel speaker, and then yes, hello everyone. Thank you so much for inviting me as the World Summit Leadership and Community Summit, actually to finance and webinar. I'm just focused to talking about the important role of education and leadership in education. In this section, we discuss about the importance of communication in leadership and examine the communication process in sending and receiving message. Communication is the process of conveying information and meaning. True communication occurs only when our parties understand the message or information from the same perspective. Communication is one of the important things in interaction with human beings. If we have a good way of communication, then there will be a good communication between each other. Likewise, in the world of leadership, especially in the world of education, how leaders communicate is very influential on his subordinates. There needs to be an understanding of how to communicate well. For the as policy, speaking is thinking how to examine the communication process.
Fadila, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Go ahead. I think we just
For
had a lot
me,
of background noise, but
leadership
carry on.
and communication is so important.
You there, Fadila?
Okay, thank you. For me, leadership and communication is so related to education. For example, of leader in school, like a teacher, like a lecturer, we must have a communication. For example, if you want to make one event in your university, you must have good leadership. You must have good communication. So talking about how to manage the event in your university, for example. For me, communication and leadership must important to education, especially teacher and lecturer. Thank you so much.
So Bill, did you have any questions for Fadila?
Yes, I do. About Fadila, speak for a moment how communication creates the more powerful lessons for the students.
Yes. Can you repeat again? Sorry.
The question was how communication helps create a more powerful impact and lesson for the students.
Okay. You know that for me, if you want teacher, you want to influence good things to student, you must know how to create good communication because it's very important. For example, me, one of teacher, I am one to making one best impact to teacher. I must know how I can making building communication with every student I have. That's why I talking before. Communication is very important to teacher and lecturer to making best relationship with student. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your wisdom, Fadila. And I'd like to move on to Dr. Shiv Kumar Chakrabarti. Can you hear me? I think you're on mute. If you can unmute yourself and share a thought, 2 minutes on leadership and communication with respect to education.
Thank you for inviting me. Good morning, everybody there in the studio, and good evening to my friends in India. I feel great enough to see you great personalities here and grab the opportunity of speaking to you, everybody there. Most of the people know what is a leader because he leads when it is called as a leader. But I make a wonderful statement borrowed from the internet. He says that what is the difference between a manager and an academic leader? Of course, the academic leader has to manage sometimes and has to do the roles of a manager also. But it says that when I talk to managers, I get the feeling that they are important. When I talk to leaders, I get the feeling that I'm important. That is the biggest difference between a manager and a leader. You see, one of the recipes of becoming a good academic leader, as it has been stressed a couple of times, is the communication, the art of communication. Being the physics teacher for the last 50 years in academics, when we teach the students electronics, that how a receiver and transmitter will work efficiently, unless there is impedance matching between the two. What I mean to say is that whatever an academic leader is speaking, if it goes above the head of the listener, perhaps it is the bad communication. He may be so great, he will say hi, but nothing will go into the brain of the people standing before him. Therefore, the art of communication is the best tool to become a good leader. There are leaders, when they speak something, the people are get spellbound. And there are people, other people who speak same words, but people do not get interested. Why so? Because this is the skill, this is the art of communication. That is why I say that the skill is the most important thing, and that skill is the communication. And actually, the leaders will say, do the things right. No, this is the manager who will say, do the things right. And leader will say, do the right things. There is the difference between the two. If you ask me, what is the function of an academic leader? I would like to say that to be an advisor to the students and teachers for effective implementation of the objectives of the educational programs, to be an effective facilitator of learning by counseling students about aptitude, to be an evaluator of students, work to evaluate their performance, to provide research-based guidance and skills to the teacher on how to assist the students in maximizing their skills and knowledge. The traits of the leader, academic leader, have been enlisted a couple of times here also and somewhere else also. So the basic traits are the guiding vision, passion, integrity, honesty, trust, curiosity, risk taking capabilities, dedication, and he must be charismatic. Charismatic in the sense when he talks to the people get spellbound and they give their ears to them. So why students need a strong academic leadership? We all know that the impact that an academic leader makes in the life of a student. So there is a need to strengthen the academic leadership of the university by bringing in highly qualified and motivated leaders. There is a need for holistic support for the present heads of our universities. In any institutions of higher education, maybe the vice chancellor is an academic leader, or the principal director or the school principal is the academic leader. So I think the biggest skill which an academic leader must acquire is the skill of communication. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Shiv. A question occurred to me. Our previous speaker talked about, really speaking to someone at a 6th grade level or 8th grade level, which I think in general is great guidance because it's easy to understand for the general public. I think one thing that's different in an academic setting is you need to speak with the right language. I mean, it's not always on the 6th or 8th grade level. Sometimes it's specific technical words, like you use the term impedance mismatch. That means something to an engineer like me. So I'd love you to comment on that balance, that art. Like I'd love to hear some experience with the balance of that art of word choices in an academic setting.
Sure, you are right. Very, very correct. Unless I speak the proper words, they're not going to go into the minds of the people. And that is why I said that mismatch should not be there. As I said that the mismatch means at what frequency you are speaking and at what frequency the people are getting it. If they do not resonate together, obviously either you have to come down or they have to come up. So this is the art, the skill you need finding to what extent I can go down, to what extent I can go up. And in doing so, the choice of the proper words is very, very important. The words which they understand, the words which you can speak and practice. That is why I said that proper way of communication is to balance, and whatever you speak out, whatever you transmit, it goes into their mind and they accept it. So it is a communication between brain to brain, not brain to machine, but brain to brain. So this is what I have to say.
Thank you. Bill, do you have a question for any of our panelists?
Well, I actually have a comment from Dr. Shiv Kumar about what he said about managers make themselves feel important and leaders make the people feel important. That is a message, Doctor, that I will never forget. So it is so accurate. Really, thank you for that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. And it has a lot to do with the communication in general, right? I think we keep coming back to this, the right words at the right time. And it really comes down to understanding your audience. So I love one of our panelists to comment on a time when you didn't understand your audience and what you did. Anybody have something to share?
You're referring to being able to get more engagement with the audience when they found that the words were not communicating properly.
I found this. I remember going to a speaking event one time and I gave a talk and I didn't really understand my audience. And it turns out I was speaking on the same topic as the person who was putting on the event. And so I really just didn't connect at the right level with my audience. And the lesson I took from that is know your audience ahead of time. Like do your homework, make sure that you know, so you can use the right jargon if it's required. So you can use the right words, you can pick the right words at the right time. So that I had that experience myself and it was very humbling. Any parting comments by any other, and let's keep it short, but let's go around the room. Krishnan Kant, parting comment on your takeaway today? I think
you're muted.
Yeah, it has been a learning experience, in fact, and listening to a senior professor, Professor Chakravarti, who is having experience of 50 years in the academic arena, it is really enriching. And the thing which you were focusing, that the right words at the right time, you have rightly said that you have to know about your audience, where you are going, what do they want? You have to speak like that so that they are convinced. And this is what Professor Chakravarti was also talking about, the impedance matching. Right word at the right time to the right crowd, to the right peers, is again the impedance matching. And a speaker, a leader, has to be meticulous in a way that he's successful in convincing the people, is successful in convincing his team or his peers.
Excellent. All right. So I think that we're on time right now with our panel. I want to thank all the panelists for sharing your wisdom and for answering our questions and for being part of the summit today.
Wonderful information. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
And ladies and gentlemen, I tell you right now, it really is amazing for us to be here and for me to sit here and listen to these subject matter experts share that great information. Oh my goodness gracious. This is just an icing on the cake for me. And we're so honored to be here. And I'm going to invite back very quickly, if I may, Michelle Maras, our MC, the lovely lady, my good friend. And let's see, did I push the wrong button? I think I did.
No, you didn't.
Okay. All right. We need to remove some of the speakers here. So please excuse me. Folks, good help's hard to find when you're sitting here and you're doing all these things. But I want to thank you. Thank you so much there. And Don, thank you so much for leading this panel. The great insight that you and Bill Heinrich have and what you do and what you mean to everything, because I've known you for several years, and brother, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to say this because this is true from the bottom of my heart. When I get ready to introduce someone to Don McGrath, I call him Dandy Don. I simply say, Don McGrath is the friend that you haven't met yet. And Michelle, I think that's spot on, isn't it?
It is. Good words.
It really is. And Don, thank you so much. We'll be right. I got to bring Dr. Sophie back. Yeah, you bet. You bet. Thank you, Don.
Bye, Don. See you in a bit.
There
Dr.
she is. Oh my goodness gracious.
You have
How
to
you
unmute her
doing?
microphone. Let's check to see if she's still there.
Okay. Hi. How you doing?
I'm good. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes. Let me get myself off the stage. Let these two ladies pick up the slack here, and we'll be right back.
Well, Dr. Sophie, it's horrible that we lost your sound, but we have plenty of time and we can get you right back on. And do you want to just start where you ended off and just keep going? You'll be like
I don't know when it stopped exactly, at what part, but I will try to improvise.
Yeah, summarize what you said, because really, I just listened to the panel, so the panel's now in my head.
Yes.
So just summarize the very beginning, and then I think you went out about 30 seconds before we started waving at you, telling you we couldn't hear you.
Okay.
So it wasn't very much that we lost.
Right.
Okay, well, good luck.
Thank you. All right. So I believe I was on active listening and the leadership skill that is very, very important, listening to understand and simplifying the message when you are delivering it. I'd like to bring in also the importance of strategic communication. I heard this one time, one lady was speaking on it, which was really amazing. Pointers that she gave examples on through her work experience and her friends' experience. And she started this new job as a communication strategist. And she, first day arriving, the boss tells her, hey, her task was, we're having an event and we're trying to get Google to partner with us. And then she was starting to think, and he said, this might be a little bit too much on your first day, but it's something that we need to happen right away. She goes, yeah, because normally it would be like written stuff and so forth. So what she said she did is that she actually went and looked at Google's mission and their interests and what they look for, their vision and so forth. And she looked at her company, her new company's mission and vision, and what they look for in partnerships and so forth. And she linked the common denominators and the values that are aligned. And then she was writing the letter for Google, addressing this as a proposal, and just went. And then on a side note, she starts explaining about her very good friend that she has, and that who met this guy on Instagram that she liked. And then she was saying, well, now that you're a communication strategist, how do you, he said, oh, he just texted me. He liked my picture. He says he liked my girl. She said, well, what is the common values that you think you both share? What do you see? So she started evaluating from the both profiles, what is in common between them and so forth. And next thing you know, one thing led to the other. And she said she was like a matchmaker, because those two people ended up talking, and they ended up actually getting married after their time of knowing each other. And her message was about strategic communication. And she's like, it's not manipulation, but it really is effective, because when the intention is on a win-win for all. And one of the things that she first always suggested was to identify the goals. Like, identify what is the goal so that you know what you're going after. Also, knowing your audience, which you guys just spoke up a little bit ahead in the panel, and I see exactly why it's so important to really understand your audience. And I'm so passionate about cross-cultural intelligence and harmony, because right now, with everything going on, it's going to be even more important for real good business conduct and actually being able to transcend a lot of the resistance and feeling of psychological safety between people when they're trying to do these transactions. Understanding and communicating effectively is going to really enhance that, and it's going to increase their authority and demand of attention when they are communicating. And then also understanding and communicating the values of what it is that we are presenting, as well as expressing the need of what you really want. So those were the 4 things that she really talked about that I really like to share with everybody, because I think they're so important. Because if we can express the value and the need and communicate that, it's going to really lead to great, amazing results. And hello, Jim. Now you're muted.
I got to keep putting quarters in this thing, ladies and gentlemen. I really enjoy the communication that we've had, and I could listen to you much, much longer, but we're out of time and we got to move on. But I'm so sorry that you had a technical issue in the beginning, but we're so glad that you're back.
And I
with
was
us.
hearing everything you were saying. I was hearing you, but you guys couldn't hear me, and I was not
No.
muted. But this thing's
Bless
happening
your
sometimes.
heart. I know how stressful that is. But listen, the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, blessings. Thank you so much for everything
bet.
you guys are doing too. Thank you.
Thank you. And we hope you have a wonderful weekend, and thanks again. And ladies and gentlemen, there is Miss Michelle. I just popped her back in, and she's just kind of like, what's Jim doing over here? She's reading my messages and everything. And my goodness, that was a wonderful talk. And let's see, I'm checking the schedule here, and
We've got a 5-minute break.
Yeah, let's see here. Well, we're running a little bit late because we got a little bit of a technical issue there. Let's see here. At 30, we're about 4 minutes behind. We need to get going because.
Okay, so we'll start our 6-minute webinar with Don and Bill.
Yes, ma'am. And if you'd be so kind as to welcome those 2 gentlemen to the stage, I'm going to get out of here.
And the volunteer, who's our special volunteer? Please welcome. Well, you've all met Don and Bill already, so we're just going to bring them right back on, and they'll be discussing the 6-minute webinar and the importance of why we even need that. And if you're a speaker, if you ever need to be introduced, you really need to talk to them. You need to hear this. So thank you, Don. Thank you, Bill. Take the stage.
Thank you,
and
Michelle.
When you're all done, we'll go into this case studies.
Thank you so much, Michelle. So everyone's heard the words 6-minute webinar at least 6 times today. Right? So what Bill and I's objective over the next 25 minutes or so is to share with you, like, what is 6-minute webinar and why you should care, right, Bill?
Yeah, we're going to that, and actually somewhere towards the end, I have a sample of one that an educator created, so people can actually see the final results. So, Don, why don't you start out with the reason it was created? Let's go there.
The reason it was created, it kind of all happened by many things, by serendipity. Like many great things come out of serendipity. One of the things that we discovered when in our business speakers pathway is that people had a hard time describing what they do briefly and succinctly to their ideal audience to move them to action. Like you mentioned earlier, to be like, oh, I'm an author, I'm a speaker, I do courses, I teach Tai Chi, I do energy work, and people have, and they weren't being successful in their business. So one of the things that we began really focusing on in that business is how to really tighten up and give a very brief, succinct, powerful message with a powerful call to action. And we created some speaker training around that. And
if I can interject, the most frustrating thing, the thing that got me upset, really, it almost made me feel hopeless, was having this passion and desire to help people and the inability to communicate it. It was so frustrating.
And we saw that in many of the people we work with, right? They were brilliant people, and they might have had a few clients that were incredibly successful with, but they couldn't reach enough people. They didn't have a large enough tribe or following because their message was, and once they got a customer or a student, they were students for life. But getting that the first time is really hard because they were giving a very confusing message.
And, this was just brought up by these amazing educators that we had on. And the manner in which you communicate and the message that I love the most out of that is managers tell you to do the right things, and leaders say, do the thing right. In other words, they're making you equal, they're making you part of the conversation. And this is what we really focus on in the 6-minute webinar, isn't it?
It is. And, I think one of the things, Bill, we kind of joke about it when we do our boot camps and do some of our teachings. But in general, if someone comes out on the stage and they say, I'll just give you, hi, I'm Dr. Don McGrath. I'm a best-selling author, I'm a speaker, and I'm a coach. What happens?
They lose everybody.
You lose everybody, and almost everybody opens that way. We've been trained to do that. The problem is, you make yourself sound like everybody else because everybody is a best-selling author, speaker, and a coach these days, right? And you also have 7 seconds to get someone's attention. And people are always thinking, what's in it for me? They don't.
Yeah, they're looking for the results. And we did a training on Tuesday, and what we teach in the 6-minute webinar is how to create an emotional connection with your audience. And it's through emotions and energy that you can connect the most. And as we were working with a person in Germany, we had another woman down in Florida, and as the lady in Germany was creating her 6-minute webinar, we were doing it with her on the fly. The woman in Florida almost fell out of her chair, didn't she, Don?
She did.
Literally.
She just so emotionally connected.
She's like,
with
that's
the
me.
Story. She just connected with the story. And the reason that happens is this came up earlier with the panel, the right words at the right time. It turns out that there's a sequence that the message needs to be delivered into when you're trying to move your perfect audience to action. There's a sequence, a specific scientifically proven sequence that we've distilled down over a year's worth of work, right? We started out with one thing, and over time we've created a 12-layer framework that puts the right words at the right time.
And you know, that's the most important thing about the 6-minute webinar. We have the framework. You have the answers. So we just ask you some questions to plug into the framework. And when you do that, everything gets built for you perfectly. And once ScriptPal writes your 6-minute webinar for you, and it sends it to you via email, and you open it and read it, you can literally feel where you have the wrong answers because of the framework that we've developed. Isn't that true, Don?
Yeah, as you go through, it's energetically, we teach this in our boot camps, that words have energy. Words have energy. In fact, we were doing our technology demonstration, and one of the answers was, I decided to change my life from the inside out. And that from the inside out part took energy away from the true just fact that this woman, her name was Petra, decided to change her life. That everybody understands what that means, but from the inside out is ambiguous and it takes energy away. So as you get trained at this and you understand it, you get to feel the energy of the words in the framework.
Yeah, why don't you speak real quickly, just go through the 12 critical areas that are built into the 6-minute webinar, Don.
So here's the framework. It's got 12 layers. We like to talk about it like a 12-layer cake. But first is the introduction, and the purpose of the introduction is to repel all the people who don't need your help and to have people who do need your help say, tell me more. It just gets their attention. It takes that precious 7 seconds and gets their attention, has them saying, tell me more. Welcome to the 6-minute webinar where I will share with you the 3 keys to blank.
And something that's very important, if I can interject, is you start with the introduction, but you really don't start with the introduction. What you really start with is, what's your call to action? What's your objective at the end? When you're teaching and you're going to create an assignment that you want the students to learn, you start with that call to action and then come back and build the rest of the steps from there, right?
Yeah, and that's really the role of ScriptPal, because you need to begin with the call to action, but you don't start a talk or a webinar with the call to action, but it has to be in the forefront of your mind. So we designed ScriptPal to start with the call to action. And then that's the earliest questions that you'll answer in ScriptPal. And then everything else follows from that. So you get a consistent thread. And many people create a webinar just starting at the beginning, right? And then the thread loses energy as it goes.
And the most important thing is that you'll see in these other 12 steps is you're not taking people on an intellectual journey. You're taking them on an emotional journey. In other words, you can connect with everybody energetically, but if you're only using words, you can only connect with some intellectually. So after you do the introduction, the next thing in the 6-minute webinar is future pacing, taking them to the end, to how it's going to be when it's perfect, what it looks like, what feelings that emotes in people. And from there, Don, why don't you talk a little bit about talking about the struggle?
So like Bill, we loves to call this, now you see it, now you don't. So you bring them to the pinnacle with future pacing. This is what it's going to feel like when my problem is solved and I'm in nirvana. Then you talk about the problem. But the problem is this, it's so hard. And you struggle with this, you struggle with this, you struggle with this. Does this sound familiar? And so the people who have that problem that you best serve are going to connect with that emotionally. They're going to connect with that pain. They felt what it's like to be done with the pain. Now they've connected with the pain.
And once you've connected them, Don, the next thing we do is we have you tell them a secret. Everybody loves a secret, don't they, Don?
Everybody loves a secret. Everybody loves a promise. You know what else we love? Your story of struggle. So when they connect with the pain, then you tell them your personal story of struggle. Now, this is on Tuesday. This is where the other person who was in the training heard the struggle story from Petra, and she nearly fell out of her chair. She was like, that's me. Because she emotionally connected with the pain and the struggle that Petra was going through, right?
once you've shared the struggle, what happens in the struggle is you're saying, I am just like you, as our educators were just saying. Leaders make other people feel important. You create that equality, and that's what happens in the struggle story. Now you've got people knowing and understanding that you know what you're speaking about. Now remember, all of this happens in 6 minutes, so there's a lot of science that goes into this. So you've described the struggle, the story, and then go ahead and talk about how the solution.
Then you say how you came about the solution. What brought you to doing what you're doing today? Like, what happened? What did you decide to do? What action did you take? And then what result did you get that now enables you to help others? So
everybody, that whether you're educators, you're in business, you have been through a struggle of some sort that has created a desire in you to find solutions and share those solutions with the world. So as we've heard our other speakers say, it's all about their experience and sharing the solution to help other people with their problem in that area, right, Don?
absolutely. That's what, I always like to talk about the successful underdog story. This is where no one likes you to come out and say, I'm great, I know everything, and I'm going to tell you. They'd rather hear, hey, I was once just like you. I struggled maybe worse than you did. Here's what happened. Here's what I learned. And now I can help you. So it's the exceptional underdog arc. So once you describe that, now and only now can you say your name and tell who you are, whatever relevant credentials you have, and what you do, right? So instead of opening up with, I'm Dr. Don McGrath, now you get to say, and it's about halfway through the 6-minute webinar is the first time you talk about yourself, right, Bill?
Well, that what I like to say is, and this goes for educators, it goes for everybody, your audience doesn't care who you are. They don't care about your name and these other things. What they care about is the information you're going to share. What they care about is how you can help them find the answers to what they're looking for. So if you're an educator teaching courses, they're concerned about the information that you're sharing with them so that they can create a higher level of intelligence in themselves and a greater awareness of what it is they're learning. And this is why the credibility story, as we call it, is so far down in the 6-minute webinar, because we want you to establish this connection first. It's the most important part. Once you've done the credibility story, then you share with them 3 steps, right, Don?
Yeah, and only 3. And a lot of people struggle with this who have done webinars before. They're like, oh, but I want to teach. Yeah, I want to teach for an hour and lose everyone. Instead, somebody said this earlier, truly brilliant people make complex things seem very simple, like 3 keys or 3 steps to achieve a result. And what happens when you do that, people who can use your help say, I can do that. I can follow these 3 steps, not these 18 steps with all these convoluted, complex things, right, Bill?
It's so true. And what's fascinating is going back to the introduction again, the introduction is about one thing. And the 3 steps support that one thing. It's very, you keep it simple, very simple. This way people can follow and understand. And the 3 things you want to teach them are the portal into deeper learning about whatever you do. The desire to ask more questions, the desire to say, well, I want more information on this. This is what happens with it. After you've done that and you've given the 3 steps, and in a minute I'm going to read a 6-minute webinar to you, you then talk about a client success story. And go ahead, Don, I'll let you go through that. And
yeah, this is not just you saying great. This is somebody else saying, or you telling a story of someone else who got a great result. And it's very simple, but it adds to your credibility, because it's not just you. It's what we call social proof. So it just adds to your credibility and your legitimacy. And the next thing after the client success story, this is where you offer more help. And one of the things we really liked for people to offer is some sort of a way to connect via phone or Zoom. Some people call it a discovery call, a strategy call, something where you can connect at a deeper level. And I think once you do that, you have an opportunity to really get to know someone. But you got to have them take that action. You have to have them want to take the action of saying, I want to meet with you because I want to know more.
And the reason they're going to want to know more is because they've thoroughly understood and connected with you energetically, emotionally, knowing that you understand and can feel the position that they're in. This is what creates the desire.
And and this all just builds to it, right? Going through, getting their attention, describing what you're going to get, having them feel what it's like to have their problem solved, connecting with the problem, telling your struggle story, sharing with them a secret, sharing with them a problem, making them a promise and keeping it, your credibility story. So all this leads to you proposing them, hey, get on a call with me, and here's what you're going to get when you do that. And this is the value stack. This is where you tell them what they're going to take away when they do press the button and book a time with you. They're going to get A, B, C, and D. Make it very clear in their language, something valuable to them that they're going to take away when they take that action.
Yeah, in fact, Fadila, who was just on the panel with us, we created a 6-minute webinar with him. Let me take a minute and just read a completed 6-minute webinar to you. Remember that Fadila just answered some questions, and then the remainder of the framework got printed out automatically because ScriptPal filled everything in for him. Welcome to the 6-minute webinar, where I will share with you 3 keys to improving education effectiveness. What would it feel like to see your students having tremendous success because of your teaching? That would be awesome, right? We would all love to produce impactful people who shape the world, but it's so hard and it requires so much work. You spend lots of times writing exams and measuring students' results. You try your best with what they know to create powerful lessons and exams. And you take a lot of certification courses. Does all of this sound familiar? Fadila remembers it was over a year ago he was trying to figure out how to more effectively learn the lessons that he was being taught, having a vision that he couldn't quite seem to reach. He was disappointed and he had to compromise his vision. He was so frustrated. Has something like this ever happened to you? But let me share a secret with you that he unexpectedly stumbled upon that will help you have a whole new experience in your teaching profession. His promise to you is that by the end of the 6-minute webinar, you will know 3 keys to becoming a masterful educator. Does that sound good? Fadila Shelsa, creator, founder of World Voice International, and for over 3 years, he's been showing educators how to reach students with their lessons more effectively so they can have, have the highest impact on the student's success. Like I said, he stumbled upon a solution that changed everything quite unexpectedly. Because he saw others struggle the way he had, he decided to work on a new vision. He went into action and created World Vision International to realize this new vision. What he discovered was he was quickly able to connect with others to help them realize their vision. Then with his newfound knowledge, he began mobilizing new team to implement this vision. And he was so happy because it allows him to work with his true purpose of improving education for everyone. And the results have been amazing. He was so excited that he sat down and defined the process to help others improving their education effectiveness. Here are the 3 keys to more effectively teach students their knowledge. 1, focus on the student. 2, create simple steps in their lessons. And 3, deliver these new lessons to the students. When these 3 keys are implemented properly, the results are astounding. Julia took one of Fadila's workshops and followed it completely. She told him that she now feels less stressed. Her students come back to her for advice about their future, and she's also learning even more about becoming a better teacher. So he decided to offer the Effective Educator Strategy Call to show many more teachers how to produce the next generation of world leaders. Are you ready to have a new experience in your profession? Then you're ready to have a call with Fidelia. He would love to meet with you for a free Effective Educator Strategy Call. When you register for his Effective Educator Strategy Call, you will understand how to create more powerful lessons. You'll have tools to help you transfer knowledge and have the students take action and feel empowered to apply your new knowledge and advance their impact. Participants have told him that this call has changed their life and is priceless. So if you have an interest, get in touch with Fidelia.
6-minute webinar. And this was the first shot out of the cannon after answering 40 questions from our app, ScriptPal, right, Bill?
That's correct. The framework comes out, keeps it very, very tight, and then you can go back, as Don said, and dress up the cake, so to speak, decorate the cake, make it look better.
Yeah, and I remember when we brought Fadila through this, he was just like, "Oh my goodness!" Like
He was shocked.
He was shocked at the clarity. And here's the thing: it's got to be about one thing. One thing. Fadila does a lot of things. He helps a lot of people with many of the things that he does. But this was just his one thing about how to help others improve their teaching effectiveness. So
that's the number one thing that we have to work with people on when they do a 6-minute webinar. From your title to your 3 keys to your call to action at the end, you must have a very tight thread about one thing that evokes this emotion and connects with your audience.
And now you can take that script and you make it your own, you polish it up, as we like to say. Then you can select some slides to accompany it. And we cover all this in our masterclass and our training. Then you can record it and you can share it in so many ways. That's the beauty of the 6-minute webinar. It's not a big, long webinar that's at a moment in time that you have to get people to. A 6-minute webinar you can share in so many ways, and it's so easy to follow and so short that people will actually consume it and watch it.
You know, I want to give you 2 quick examples. The other day, in the middle of September, I'm going to be teaching to a large mastermind group about the 6-minute webinar. And the person that runs the mastermind group out in Las Vegas, Nevada said, send me some copy so I can send it out to our group. In other words, I want to tell them what it's about so they'll have an interest. So I sat down, and in 15 minutes, because I've worked with this framework so much, in 15 minutes, I went through and wrote a 6-minute webinar on what we were going to talk about. And it's the 3 keys of creating client magnets, how to attract people to you. I wrote the webinar I took the webinar then and made, 20 something points about the benefits of paying attention to when we do this teaching. And in 30 minutes, I had it laid out so well, sent it off to him, and he's got tremendous copy to get to his people. Another one is a gentleman I work with who has a massive wealth website, selfhelp.com is the name of the website. I took him through one in about 40 minutes, and he said it would have taken him all day to get as clear as he got in 40 minutes. He was just shocked. So that's what happens with the 6-minute webinar. You can use it so many different ways.
And it's what I find really interesting is that many people go through and they record it and they share their 6-minute webinar and they attract clients, they get business. But many people just start using the language. They off the top of their head, they have their struggle story, they have their success story, they have their credibility story. They know how to talk about the problem. They know what the secrets are. They know their 3 keys. So many people just, besides doing the webinar, they just begin using that language in all aspects whenever they talk about their objective, their business, or whether they're teaching or teamwork or whatever they do.
Yeah, when you said they start using their language, the way I like to say that is they start using their audience's language. They use a language that connects with their audience. It's like what was said before about managers feel important, leaders make other people feel important. And the way you make people feel important is connect with them with their language. Again, they don't care about your name. They don't really care about any of those other things. All they care about is they're there to get a problem solved, or in this case with educators, to learn something, connect with them on their level.
The right words at the right time. It's 6-minute webinar, and that framework helps you to do that. So thanks, Bill. I think this has been a great demonstration. I hope that we got other people to understand this is what you're talking about when you're talking about 6-minute webinar. So Jim, I think we're ready to move on to our next segment.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed listening to you guys, and wonderful information. And I've got to bring back the beautiful Michelle Moras, our MC. My goodness gracious. She's just been a tremendous lady. I've known her for a long time, and just wonderful. We're so honored that you're here with us. Michelle, what did you think about what Don and Bill just shared about the 6-minute webinar?
You're muted, Michelle.
You're muted, Michelle.
Keep muting everything so we don't get shown throughout the. Well, one, thank you for getting us back on time. Two, what we talked about with the 6-minute webinar, it makes me cringe because everyone I know needs the 6-minute webinar because everyone's bio says, blah, 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 I'm a blah, 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 but nothing is connecting. And I'm reading everything we should have all done one big giant 6-minute webinar before we ever came onto this platform. We need to do that next time.
I know, that's good. Chalk that up. That's a lesson learned for the next time.
Yeah, lesson learned. Because I'm like, everything they're saying, I'm like, I'm not introducing people that way. I feel kind of guilty. Yes, everyone needs that 6-minute webinar, no matter where you are, no matter what you do. Thank you so much.
That's the way we've been taught. That's the way we've been trained to introduce ourselves. And your audience doesn't care. They don't know what can you do for them, right?
Yeah. What have you done for me lately? I mean, that's what they want.
Exactly.
And I mean, we have our case studies coming up now. Explain to the audience, what is this case studies that we're about to share? What is it about?
What we ask from our case study speakers is to come on and share with us their experience in their area. And today it's focused on education, challenges that they've seen in leadership and communication, and some of the lessons that they learned, and share some of their wisdom and some of those nuggets that we can all take away and apply in our own lives.
Outstanding. Well, because I know we have two speakers, two case studies that we'll be sharing. And for the next 30 minutes, we'll be 10 minutes each. So 20 minutes we'll be hearing from each of them. And then the last 10 minutes will be a Q&A discussion. And that'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. We're waiting for a couple of our speakers to show up, and a couple of people have had technical difficulty, ladies and gentlemen, trying to get into the studio, so we apologize for that. But while we're waiting, very quickly, and we'll get back on schedule, I'm going to invite a young lady that helps me a lot at the TV station. And let me make room for her, Bill, and thank you so much. And also, Don, thank you so much. And I'm going to ask
I have a question.
Okay.
If our case study 1 isn't on, should we go to case study 2 first?
Yes. I'm waiting for her to come in too, because there are people who are.
Oh, she's not on either.
No, she's not on either. So sometimes, we have to improvise a little bit, but here she is. That's my partner in crime. Donna, how are you?
Donna.
You're muted. You're still muted, Donna.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah,
Good
welcome,
morning,
Donna.
everybody.
Good morning.
Donna Guinois is she's helps me produce and host the show here on E360 TV. She's been working in the background trying to get people in and all that. And she's kind of like a police at the door. Do you have a pass? Okay. If you got a pass, you're in. If not, you don't come in.
Right?
But
It's, it's what it is. We're doing what we do here for the summit. This is an incredible
yeah.
event, and we are honored to be here, to be a part of it,
Mhm.
to be able to host it with E360 TV, the 6-minute webinar, and of course,
Yes.
the Vanya
Vanya.
Vanya Kusik.
Kuzik. Thank you.
Yeah.
I just went out of my head.
Yeah.
The summit. It is an incredible event, and we are excited to be here.
Yeah. You know, when she said Vanya, she was trying to do an impersonation of me, ladies and gentlemen. That's
No, that
'cause
would have been me.
No, I have a degree on mispronouncing names correctly. The very first time I can just do that so easily.
He can.
And
It took you 3
oh
months
yeah,
to learn how to say my last name.
and I went to night school on that. Ladies and gentlemen, our first case study has just showed up. We'll be able to keep on time. And Donna, thank you so much for all the hard work that you do behind the scenes. And let me invite this young lady to the stage. And Donna, we'll be talking soon.
Yep.
Welcome. How are you doing, Vanya? Your microphone is muted.
So I'm back here.
Yeah, how
Thank
you
you so
doing? I pushed the wrong
much.
button. I have not
Good to
had
see.
enough coffee yet.
Well, Vanya, one of the
Good
quotes
job.
one of the quotes you shared on the main page for the link to join this, you have communication is the sister of leadership. That's why communication is the real work of leadership. And that this whole summit is about, showing leaders the 3 disciplines. And I was excited to be part of this because with these case studies that we're about to hear, we're going to hear it all start accumulating with the first segment of the educators.
Yes, absolutely. So it's going to be more exciting when we start listening our case study panelists, and these people have lots of things to say. And if we are going to start with Nadia Manjri, and she is an amazing personality who is going to tell you more about the leadership and the communication and how these both things correlate to each other and helped you out to overcome with your mental and any other things. So I would like you to invite her and start the session of our case study.
All right. Well, Vanya already introduced you far better than any way I could have introduced you. I can say what your title is, and that's about it. So you are a registered clinical hypnotherapist, master transformational coach, and CEO of Profound Wellness, and also a TEDx speaker. And like I said, Vanya introduced you the best. So take the stage, Nadia, and have fun.
Thank you, Michelle. Hi, everyone. When we talk about leading with clarity, we usually think about strategies, planning, goals, and time management, which is important. But what is also very important in the leadership with clarity is communication. And I think you will probably agree with me, all of you. When we talk about communication, I am going to share with you the 3-step model of my communication model that I have been using and will share with you today. But before we go there, I like to explore about what communication is from my perspective, what I have learned, and I'd like to share with you. Communication to me is 3 ways. Is I talk to you, you talk to me, and I talk to myself. I repeat, I talk to you, you talk to me, and I talk to myself. So let's explore this a bit. How does this work? When we talk about I talk to me or I talk to you, first thing comes that how do I talk to myself? And that leads to the part of clarity. Think of the time when you went on a trip or climbing a mountain. You are listening to the guide. You have people along with you, but you're still listening to that monkey mind, the chatterbox, which is constantly talking to you. That is that level of communication. And today we're not here to talk more about that. But the point is that talking to yourself is one of the important things in communication, that how you are communicating with yourself. That gives you clarity. Because if you're not aligned, if you're not clear within you, it will lead and represent when you talk to others. But when you are clear, you will experience, and the person, when you talk to them, communicate with them, will experience that compassion. And that's the other aspect of communication. Because now you're clear with your mind, you're talking with compassion, allowing them to talk to you, communicate with you. And when you allow that, that leads to the other aspect, how they talk to you, that leads to connection. And that's how I understand. I talk to you, you talk to me, and I talk to myself. These are the three aspects that we sometimes do not pay attention to when we are with people, whether we are leaders, whether we are entrepreneurs, whether we are teachers. We feel that responsibility and urgency to deliver our message. But is this really communication? So after today, whenever you're communicating, I would like you to think about how I talk to you, how I talk to myself, and how you talk to me back. And that will give you a good aspect of clarity, communication with compassion, and connection. Let's come back to the 3-step model that I have worked over the last 18 years, working with executives, leaders, celebrities, entrepreneurs, and business owners. Like you all, I have also gone through my vulnerabilities and understanding this real powerful tool of communication. What was really required in this aspect for me to share with you all today? If we talk about case studies, there are many examples. There are very many examples that I can share. But however, I would like to share the model that can add value for your leadership in the education segment, or whether you're entrepreneur, leader, or in any area of your personal or professional. So let's talk about the model. What is the step 1 in my model? Is listening. What about listening, which is important? Effective communication is not what you speak. It's what you hear, what you listen, the power of silence. We can talk about active listening, but I'll explore a little bit about it. That what is the person trying to speak, which he's or she's not speaking? The energy, the power of listening. What are they trying to express, what they are not saying? And when you pay attention to this step, it opens up lots of opportunities. As human beings, we love being heard. That's a powerful tool. When we are heard, we feel validated, we feel important. And when we hear others, you can ask yourself, think of the time when you were really heard. How did it feel to you? What did you experience in your body, in your mind? How relaxed you felt to be yourself. No pressure. So that allows you to go into the next step, which is the step 2 of understanding perspective. Most of us, when we are speaking, we forget about what other people, as leaders, what are their perspectives? What are they trying to put on the table? We forget about that. Let's take an example. If you were to draw 6 right now, I will be looking at 9. And if I'm drawing the 6, you will be looking at 9. Who is right here and who is wrong? No one. It's all about understanding perspective. You going to the other side to see the 9 and I coming on the other side to see the 6. It's as simple, but it can only be possible when you are willing to listen and see the perspective of other people. And that allows them to be vulnerable, share their experiences, and allow them to be themselves, to make you successful, and in return, they make themselves successful. And that is the platform as a leader, as an educator, as a business owner, or as an influencer you need. That what is the power of communication. Many times we forget what is being said because we are busy trying to speak and not seeing any other perspective. It may take you back to the geometry class, looking at the 45-degree angle or the 90-degree angle. They both are angles. It's just the perspective which is different. And that leads to the third step, which is connection. Connection it happens when you allow people to hear, to be heard, and to speak. Notice their body language, noticing the silence, giving them that space, and looking at that perspective allows you to be connected to them. And that is the step that builds the organization, teams, families, educational system, and the communities. Because as a leader, if you can implement, as the combination of all the case studies of the last 18 years I have done, coaching and training the executives and leaders, this is what I have learned. That when I followed these 3 steps, I landed in a good space, a space where I could build something amazing for themselves and myself. It's all teamwork. And when you have the steps, you get confidence and congruency as a leader. When you can allow to embrace these 3 steps in your leadership and communication, you will see how confident and how congruent you become. And when you become confident and congruent, you build communities, you build healthy systems, and you create all the strategies and planning based on this model. Simon Sinek says, leaders eat last. I would like you to ask this question today, whether you're a teacher, educator, leader, or entrepreneur or business owner. Are you really listening? Are you really paying attention to things what are not being said? Are you really understanding or willing to understand the perspective of other people? Are you really making effort to connect with people? And when you can allow this, and when you can explain yourself and you can sit down with this model and you can follow this in your personal or professional, even when your student comes to you and saying something that he or she doesn't understand, when a child comes to you as a parent and you allow these steps to embrace, or even a colleague or even a partner, you will see the power of communication, that how it evolves. And if you can implement the aspect of the words I said, how I talk to you, you talk to me, and I talk to myself, and then you allow yourself to go to the model, it'll give you enough space to create the model that suits you. It's not about being right. It's all about service, congruency, confidence, clarity. And that's when you become the leader of clarity. Thank you. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to share today.
Thank you for sharing. You shared so many huge lessons. And let me say, you got me each time. How I talk to you, how you talk to me, how I talk to myself. And then the power of listening and perspective. You are speaking my language and speaking everyone's language that should be out there listening, because perspective is everything. But you've got to listen too. Thank you so much for sharing your perspective and and your lessons. And thank you so much, Nadia. That was phenomenal. I would love to hear more about what you do. I will. Oh yeah. People connect with Nadia. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was an honor speaking here and listening to everybody. And thanks to the foundation and Don and Bill for creating this opportunity for all of us to share our perspective and our information and knowledge.
Yes. And I'm so glad I was on to MC while you were here, because you were amazing. And I will hunt you down to find more about you. Thank you so much. And now we'll go to our next case study. Yes, we're going to our next case study. And Beata is with us now, and she is case study number 2. And we'll make sure that she unmutes herself. Now, I have a little bit of bias with Beata. I've known her for a couple of years. So she helps you change your story so you can change your life through the power of journaling. Now, she please welcome my transformational life coach friend, passionate speaker, Beata Severin Reed.
Hello, everyone. How are you today? Give us some love when you are on social medias. And Michelle, oh my goodness, you know how much I love you. Thank you for introduction. I'm so excited to be here and spend some time with you because today I want to share about how the most effective leaders communicate differently. I will share 3 important skills that every effective leader is always working on and educating themselves about it. Now, recently, I attended a conference in Florida. One of the sessions was dedicated to new leaders of this particular company. The couple, husband and wife, leading the session, had a lot of knowledge about the leadership. I was so excited. Well, they also shared that they just came back from the 1 week training with Joe Dispenza. Come on, it's $10,000 to attend that kind of training. So I was like, wow, great investment, great value. But knowledge without implementation is just information. The lady hardly ever let her husband to speak. She was constantly interrupting him. And the problem I saw was that she was focused on communicating to impress rather than communicating to impact, especially her team. Write this down. Effective leaders communicate to impact, not to impress. She was really sharing all she knew in the limited time she had, and that became overwhelming. People started to ask clarifying questions, and she got irritated. She shushed them. She said, "Shush! It's not time to ask questions. It's time to learn if you want to be successful." One important thing she has forgotten was that the success of the leader and the team is based on communication. Write this down. Effective leaders know that communication is not about speaking. Communication, first and foremost, is about listening. And it's funny because the speaker before me just was talking about that. Well, too many leaders have the habit of waiting for their turn to talk rather than actually listening to their people. And people are the most productive when they feel respected and heard. True leaders don't shut people down. True leaders encourage their people to open up. And questions are the best feedback for leaders to know where their people really are. So if you are a leader, communicate politely how you can be approached. Don't leave your people confused. Confused people don't produce. Confused people procrastinate. There is a great story about Sam Walton, the founder of Walmart during the height of his career. As the story goes, Walton was flying his plane to Mount Pleasant, Texas, and decided to land 100 miles away from his destination just so he could spend extra time riding in the Walmart truck and listen to the driver. You see, Walton was not too busy and was not too big to make time for listening. Leaders, always make listening your priority. And remember, communication is not about speaking, but about listening first. And finally, it's not enough for leaders to know how to communicate to impact and how to communicate through listening. Leaders that truly want to succeed need to learn how to communicate effectively. Yes, write this down. Communicate effectively with others. How can you do that? Get to know your people. You need to be genuinely interested in having a relationship with them. Get to know their values, get to know their life, what they are happy about, what they are scared of. Simon Sinek said, if you don't understand people, you don't understand business. Well, we are in 21st century and we still have too many leaders that are leading in the old school way. I call it upside down, why they expect people to come down, to come up to them, to the top, instead of go and meet them right where they are. People feel more safe. They are more open when you meet them where they come from. And safety equals trust. And trust is the foundation for building successful teams. Now, if you are a leader or want to become one, make sure your actions speak louder than words. Because people do what people see. Be a leader that you always wanted to have. And remember, leadership starts with you. My name is Beata Severin-Reed. I'm a leadership coach and transformational speaker. It was honor to be here. Thank you, Vanya. Thank you, Michelle, Jim, and the whole team. I'm curious how I can connect with all people who are listening to me. Please connect with me through Facebook and Instagram. Let's start the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Beata. And then we'll have 5 minutes of Q&A. And I don't know if we have anybody out there who has a question for Beata, and where we need to bring Nadia back on too. There you are. And
Hey.
I find it very funny that you both quoted Simon Sinek.
I know, this is my girl. Yes.
Yeah, I was like, what? Leaders eat last, and you don't know people, then you don't know business. I found that very interesting. So Donna, are you going to lead this?
Yeah, let me share. So something that you both said really resonated with me. It's about listening. And I was a leader for many years. One of my favorite things I would teach other leaders is the best leaders ask the best questions. So
Absolutely.
I would love, they ask the best questions. They're curious, right? They don't talk, they listen. So I would love to know, what are each one of yours, if you have one tip that you could share with people about how to do that more effectively, the one practical tip for people who want to lead, who want to become better listeners.
Well, I can start. So like we said, listening is actually communicating, because when you hear what people are saying or not saying because they are afraid, then you can really lead them. And leadership starts with you. So listen to yourself too. But going back to the questions, people are afraid to ask questions because, like I give you just example, they are shushed by the leaders. Like, why? The quality questions to me is any question that I can bring clarity to. And there are no stupid questions. There are only challenging questions, both for the leader and the teams or the family, wherever. We are leaders in communities, in families, with friends. So everyone can be a leader. And did I miss other question?
I love that. What I heard from you is encourage people to be transparent and speak what's on their mind. Like, don't be afraid to ask questions, even if you think they're hard ones.
Absolutely. The only way to actually follow the leadership vision, yes? It's the only way to know what the leader really wants from me. Because the leaders, it's funny, but leaders often assume, we leaders, oh, I've been there too. We assume that people know what we value. People know the mission. They need to be reminded. And questions is the only way to bring the clarity into this topic.
So Nadia, I'd like to hear from you. What's one practical tip for people who want to be better listeners?
I think make it more about the person than the problem. That's always very powerful for me. When the person comes and expresses themselves, whether you're a team or you're talking to your client or you're talking to a student, let it be about them. It's all about you. It's all about the problem. When you focus on the person, you get to hear a lot more. And then you can ask questions so they can help you solve the problem, because that's a part of leadership. You allow others to flourish, right?
I love that. I was talking to someone a couple of weeks ago who was moving into a leadership role, and they were really struggling because they had a team, but the team wasn't doing what they wanted them to do. And my advice to them was similar to what yours is: relationship first. Relationship
Listen
first,
to the person.
right? And if you build strong relationships, people will start doing what you want them to do. But if you ask them to do something and that foundation isn't there, so really great wisdom from both of you. I really want to thank you both from the bottom of my heart and the whole team. You sharing your wisdom with us, and really love what you shared today. It really was great stuff.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Don. And thank you for sharing the great wisdom about your program. The 6 Minutes webinar was awesome. I think that's something every speaker should look into. And thank you, Beata, for your energy. I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much for this opportunity, everybody.
And I love that in each one of your talks, you said the 3 keys.
the three steps of the thing, and then that's true. Like when I heard you saying that 3, and I said, well, that's what I do. So bingo. So thank you very much. And all what you shared today added more to the coaching I do and how I help people. So I appreciate all your wisdom and connections.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I am muted still. There we are. We have a mini break. So if we can make a 3-minute break instead of a 5-minute break so that, we can all come back together. We'll come back to more case studies. We have case study 3, 4, and 5. We have Fong coming up, Fong Chua, Beata Bilkowska, and Paya Ratna. So take a break. We'll be right back. And Jim, am I correct with a 3-minute break rather than a 5-minute break? It'll be like a 3-minute webinar.
Let's see here. Yeah, we can go ahead and just take a quick little break. I'm just going to do a quick little commercial, then we'll come back and got to pay some bills. I got to give a shout out from Mr. Aaron Hymas, because he's the guy there in Master Control. He just donated everything for this summit. So we want to pay him proper respect. We'll be right back right after this brief message.
Hey, this is Aaron from E360 TV. I just want to encourage all of you to join in the Leadership and Communication Summit 2021. Vanya and her team have been working hard, and it seems it's going to be an amazing event. We're very, very proud to sponsor this year's Leadership and Communication Summit, and it will be playing live across all of our platforms on E360 TV. So join the summit, download the E360 TV app, and enjoy the awesome show.
And you got a chance to meet Mr. Aaron Hymas. Isn't he a wonderful young man? I tell you, just a joy and a jubilee to work with. And Michelle, we're going to be bringing our first case study on. So let you welcome this young man to the stage, and I'll just go back behind the curtain.
Hello, Fang Chua. Yes, thank you so much. Our first case study in this segment is Fang Chua. He's an entrepreneur, business strategist, real estate investor, speaker, and best-selling author. He's won multiple speaking awards, mentored speakers, emceed, speaks professionally, and performed on various stages and hosted multiple events. Please welcome Fang Chua, and we're interested and can't wait to hear what you get to share.
Hey, hello, everybody. How's everybody doing? I'm going to assume everybody's going, yeah, we're having a great time and learning lots and being around great people. So first of all, thank you very much, Michelle, for that introduction. And also thank you, Vanya Kushik, for putting this all together, and everybody else who's organized and put everything together and all the hard work. Thank you very much. And I just want to give everybody a round of applause, and for you as well for being here. I mean, 80% of success is showing up, and of course you're showing up. So give yourselves all around applause or a pat on the back. All right, so in the next few minutes, I was asked to share some of my leadership and communication strategies. And also, I'm going to share with you a simple little trick that you can apply right away and implement right away that would help you increase the processing power of your brain by 50% at least. And then also, in doing so, save lots of time. And that's what we all want to do. We want to save time. As leaders, that's something we always want to do. We want to be more efficient. We want to be able to save time, because we understand that once we are efficient, then we're able to learn more. We're able to connect better. We're able to get more results. We're able to impact more people, meet more people, connect with more people. And that's why we always strive to become more efficient, to grow, to learn, and have that continuous mindset of learning and collaborating and networking and building relationships. Now, I've worked with a lot of people from all over the world, some multimillionaires, some celebrities, and also some Olympic champions. And I love studying what business leaders do. I love studying what celebrities do, so that I can learn more about what they do, so I can apply it to myself and also teach my clients at the same time. So with regards to that, there's 3 things that I found that was completely common when it comes to what all business leaders, all celebrities, all successful individuals have in common. And that is, number 1, they have this innate ability to really connect with people. Number 2 is they're all inside some sort of coaching cycle. And then number 3 is to have that right mindset. So going back to connecting, why am I saying connecting and not communicating? Well, that's because it's 2 completely different things. Communication is very, very important. And communicating correctly allows you to connect with the people that you're talking to. Time and time again, we all communicate. We can write, we can say words, we can do whatever we want. And it's a form of communication. But are we actually connecting with the people that we're talking to? Are we actually connecting with the people that's sitting in the audience, listening to what we're saying? Now, if you're believing that, you know what, it's pretty much the same thing, let me paint you a scenario. Who here is excited to pick up the phone and call the insurance company, or pick up the phone and call the energy company to sort out an issue or sort out a payment issue? Who's putting up their hand? I know I'm not excited. And just last night, I had to do that exact same thing. I knew right away, this is going to be a drag, because the thing is, we can say a lot of words. They go say a lot of words back to us. We're communicating, but the thing is, they're not connecting with me. They're not listening to the words that I'm actually saying and what I actually want them to do. And why? Because they're going off script. They're going word for word, what to ask, what to say, and everything according to what they're being trained to do. They're communicating, but they're not connecting. I don't know how many times I heard the words, definitely that is something we could help you out with. That is definitely something I can help you out with. Well, help me out with it. Stop telling me and just help me. Something that would have been done in 30 seconds to maybe 2 minutes. All I wanted to know is, did I pay my bill? And that took 20 minutes to go over, because he went through all the questions that he was trained to do, because he was told to follow the script. So scripts are great for training, but eventually we need to empower the people that we're teaching. We need to empower the people that we're training to start listening louder. Something that Dr. Sophie talked about and Nadia talked about is the importance of listening. When you start listening, you start to go outside of that script boundary and really connect with the people you're talking to. That experience becomes a wow experience. It's no longer kicking people away from your business or pushing people out of your phone calls and making them more frustrated because you're not connecting with them. So connecting with the people with effective communication is absolutely one key that many, many leaders have all the time. The second thing I wanted to talk about is with regards to the coaching cycle. Every single successful person, leader, business entrepreneur that I know is either a coach or being coached, or both at the same time. And the thing is, we all want to grow. And the thing, if we're always at the top telling somebody else what to do and we're not growing ourselves, then there comes a point in time that people surpass us, or we start losing that edge. So we always want to keep increasing. We always want to keep growing. We always want to be able to have somebody else tell us what we can be doing, challenging us to grow and improve as well. Coaches are people who have done that, been there, and are doing it as we speak. And I can go time and time again that I have been able to learn so much more because my coaches have challenged me. From my very first book to my 8th book, to my very first real estate property, to my very first speaking engagement, to my very first podcast, if it wasn't for my coaches to challenge me to do so, I wouldn't be where I am. In fact, if it wasn't for my coach that challenged me to take on a podcasting role, I probably wouldn't be here right now because I wouldn't have met Vanya. I wouldn't have met so many different people from all over the world and become international. So being coachable, implementing the stuff that your coaches tell you is absolutely vital. For instance, right now, the CEO of Amazon, Andy Jassy, he was shadowing and being coached by Jeff Bezos for years. But at the same time, Jeff Bezos was willing to coach and share his knowledge and share his skill set to somebody else, because as leaders, we want to constantly bring up new leaders. We want to inspire and motivate new leaders and strong leaders so that they can keep that cycle going. So as leaders, we have to be coachable, and we also have to coach somebody else and be within that cycle of coaching. And the third thing I want to mention is that mindset. Having that correct mindset is absolutely vital. We all understand how important it is to have the right stuff going into our minds. So what are you putting into your mind? Are you putting into your mind something that's positive, that's motivating? If so, let me ask you this one question. What are you waking up to every single morning? What's the very first thing that your brain is exposed to every single morning? Are you waking up to an alarm clock? Because if you are, then you got to change that right now. Because instantly you're waking up to something that puts you in a negative mode. So for me, the very first thing I did, and this is something I highly recommend everybody do, is change that alarm to something that motivates you, that pumps you up. I put in a song that wakes me up every single morning that really motivates me. The first words, the first lines of that word is, you've got the touch and you've got the power. How can you not wake up inspired and ready to motivate and help and impact more and more people every single morning? So that's how I wake up. I recommend everybody to do that. Other thing you can do is surround yourself with like-minded individuals who are willing to drive for success. People who are at this summit right now, people who are speaking at the summit right now. We're all people that we should surround ourselves with because we're all driven to succeed. The third thing to help with your mindset is constant mind feeding every single day. 20, 30, 40 minutes a day of mind feeding. Good, knowledgeable content, stuff that you want to learn about, whether it's communication or leadership. Listen to that stuff 20, 30, 40 minutes a day. Positivity stuff that you want to learn so you can relate better with other people. But the thing is, we don't have enough time. And I told you I was going to share a secret as to how you could do that. Well, for me, I want to be able to absorb as much information as I can so I can relate and connect with more and more people. But how do I do that if I'm not a very strong reader? For me, if I'm just to read a 250-page book, it takes me about 20 hours and a span of maybe 3 months. That's way too slow. So my recommendation, grab an audiobook, listen to it, and read at the same time. That instantly reduces your time to 9 hours. But why stop there? There's a secret button. Well, not really secret. You can find it. Click on it and you'll see playback speed. You can change it to 1.25, 1.5, 2.5, whatever type of speed you want. And you can reduce that listening time to 6 hours to 3 hours. So I can actually finish a whole book in 3 hours. If I wanted to re-listen to the whole thing again, I'm still doing that faster than reading it on my own. And I can retain information faster. But why stop at audiobooks? Do that with all your podcasts and all your YouTube videos, and you can listen and absorb information faster. Train your brain to absorb that information. And when you're doing that, you're able to actually find that information faster as well. When you're connecting and you're networking and you're talking to people, you're able to grab information faster. So that's what I would recommend. Now, the thing is, first, bump it up to 2 times the speed, listen to that for 2-3 minutes, and then reduce it down to 1.5. All of a sudden you go, wow, I could actually hear and absorb this information. So instantly, you're increasing your brain processing power by 50%. So that is why I wanted to share with you on what a great leader is and what are the 3 traits that they have. Once again, it's that coaching cycle, being able to connect with the people that you're working with. And number 3, that mindset is absolutely vital for all successful leaders and also very successful, effective communicators as well. So that's what I have. I hope you guys all enjoyed that. And yeah, thank you very much for having me.
I'm so glad you came with us. You've got so much energy. And I love that you have, you make more mind bites as your title up there in your corner, as your logo, because that's what you're sharing. You were sharing about how to be coachable and how coaches will challenge us. And honestly, what really stuck me, I'm kind of a music person and I wake up the same way. I've got the power. You wake up and you're so happy. I train a lot about music and how that works with your brain because it will set your tone. And if you wake up to an it sets the tone for being irritated for the rest of the day.
Exactly.
So a really quick tidbit that that Fong shared is wake yourself up in the morning with something that's positive and uplifts you, because what that does is it challenges your brain to keep seeking that kind of energy, seeking that level of alertness, and to be able to have that mindset of being ready. Thank you so much for all your time, Fong Chua. I look forward to finding you on all social media. And
I'm on all social media. You can find me on my podcast show and then also on YouTube and all that great stuff. I look forward to connecting with everybody. And if anybody's interested, I am giving away a free ebook on communication. So I don't know how we can arrange that, but if people want to pick up my book on communication effectively, then I have a free ebook that I could give away as well.
If you have the link, put it in the private chat and then they can share it into the comments.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you very much for having me. It was very enjoyable and I absolutely love adding value. So anytime. This is awesome. Thank you very much.
Don't go too far away because we'll have a 5-minute Q&A right after the other 2 case studies. Okay, case study number 4, Beata Bikowska. Where are you coming from? Uh-oh, no internet. But Beata works with the brand called You. And for 25 years, she's been a coach, a well-being leader, and personal branding person, because her quote is from A. Richardson, because in a world where everyone is wearing masks, it is a privilege to see souls. I love that quote. Uh-oh, she's still frozen.
I think that's about. Oh.
Well, we'll have to get her internet corrected because she's definitely not there. But I loved her quote about, in a world where everyone's wearing masks, that it's a privilege to see souls. That is a beautiful quote. What do you think?
Oh, I tell you right now that I hadn't thought about that, but that's one of the things I love about truth. And when people are speaking from the heart, and you just go, wow, I needed that. And that's, very important because we need to look at the person. deep down inside. And ladies and gentlemen, we've got some technical issues with her audio or video, whatever it might be. We're going to work
She's
on
back
that.
on. Yeah.
Oh, is she? Okay.
Yeah,
Well, let me
she's
bring her
back on.
back in. Let's see if this thing is going to work now. And
Let's see how strong her internet is.
hi, Beata. How are you?
No.
Hi, hello. I don't know what's going on. Sorry. I hope you can see. I'm here.
Sputtering. You're sputtering, but you are on. So what I'll do is I'll go off and you just start talking. I've already introduced you. And then that way maybe we can get you in before your internet crashes on us.
Okay, let's try this way.
Okay, Beata, go.
Thank you. Yes, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here with you and to share my knowledge and experience. As I mentioned earlier, yes, my name is Beata. I'm originally from Poland, and I have been here in England for 15 years. And my passion, it's really personal brand and well-being. That's long history, but I'm sure we will talk about it in different time. Today, the topic it's really about communication, and I hope you will agree with me that the art of the communication it's the language of the leadership. So the ability really to communicate with people effectively, to communicate with students, mentees, employers, employees, client, it's essential.
I believe your internet is acting up a little bit. If you have an Ethernet cable, that'd probably give you a much stronger connection there. Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes we have internet connections and we're going to work with her behind the scenes. And so, it's unfortunate because I was really looking forward to her message. And let me bring Michelle back up here, and we're going to be working on it. And oh my goodness, technology works great until it doesn't, right?
You have to love technology, don't you? I mean, we just have to love it.
Yeah. One time I was on TV and we were live and my picture frozen, my voice frozen. And whoever the guest was saying, I think Jim's got some technical issues. Well, at that moment, ladies and gentlemen, I had more issues than technical. I was getting upset, being on the live show, but we've learned just to roll with the punches. And Michelle, I just want to say what a wonderful job you're doing. And my goodness gracious. And I'm hoping that we can work with Beata behind the scenes there. I know Donna's working, we'll give her some suggestions there on private chat.
Well, I was laughing about being on my live show and the other person froze. And so we're talking and I think she was like in Pakistan or something, and she froze, but she didn't freeze like this. She froze like this. And so she was frozen and I was writing her, "You're frozen, sign off, sign back on." And I'm talking to her while I'm still talking to my audience, and I'm writing her, and I'm writing without looking, and my fingers are on the wrong keys. So I'm typing like things that happen when you're live, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
it's really amazing. The original webinar series where this show generated from was started on Zoom, and we were doing Facebook Live, and that's where I originally met you. Mm-hmm. And oh my goodness gracious, I remember one time I was on there. Janie Sterling was with me, which I was very, very glad. She's a trained speaker. She knows, when you don't put enough quarters in the machine, you can get kicked out. I got kicked out 3 different times during the 1-hour broadcast. And it became a joke. They said, "Okay, Jim's back." I said, "Yeah, I had to go get another cup of coffee." All you do is laugh about it, because there's nothing else you can do. Nothing else you can do. Now, Beata is back on again. We're going to bring her here, and hopefully this time, ladies and gentlemen, We hope our internet will work good, and if not, we will make our adjustments behind the scenes and drive on. So let me take myself here out of the way and invite her to the stage.
Yay! We're clear.
I hope it will work now. I'm just using different device. I really don't know what's going on, so I'm really
perfect. You are clear. You are not fuzzy, and you're not jumping. Take the stage, Beata. You're lovely. And now that all the bad things have happened, your talk will be perfect and perfect.
Of course, and everything happening for reason. So I think that was the reason. Like, okay, to come back to say hello again for a couple times. So yes. Yes, my name is Beata, and as I mentioned before, I'm a well-being strategist and personal brand creator. I just love to work with people. And as I mentioned before as well, I'm Polish. I'm living in England for the last 15 years. And I think communication, as you would agree with me, it's really important, and the way really to effectively communicate with our students, mentees, clients, employees, employers, it's essential. And especially right now in the digital tech, people need to know how to obtain or to gather information in person, over the phone, of course, via email, and more importantly, it's the social media right now. So this is why we are here. Look how fantastic and what amazing opportunity we've got right now. So I'm always asking myself, like, how to talk to people, or how to talk to them. They will listen, and how to listen to make them talk to me. So of course, one of the tips, it's really like you have to give your audience the entire attention. Focus on conversation, focus on content, and most importantly on the person, the tone of voice, emotions, and of course, as you know, the non-verbal messages, because as we know, the face expression, the body language could tell us even more than words. In this world, or the online world, as you already noticed, we don't have borders. We can work from people. We can work with people from different countries, even with different continents. Look where we are. How fantastic again opportunity we've got to talk to you or to everyone today, and to meet amazing speakers as well. And you know, Jim, Michelle, Vanya. So thank you so much to the technology for the opportunity. However, we have to be aware of the culture difference. Yes, it is important. And I will say, you know, it's very important to be aware of the culture difference, gender, age, because very often we just assume that people know what we want from them, or we assume they will understand our messages. And as we know, written words could sometimes people could read differently. So it's very, very important. And never assume, and never don't be scared of asking for explanation. It's better to ask 100 times to make sure you know the meaning of your conversation and you really understand people, instead just to assume and to make lots of mistakes. And yes, sometimes I do remember, of course, I'm going to share my experience with you during my beginning in England. Sometimes I struggle with accent. As you can see, my accent is different as well. So I just felt like, you know what, I don't want to say I don't care, but I just felt like I will ask so many times to make sure I do understand people correctly. And even if I read something from their face expression or body language, I also ask them if my understanding is correct. Because as I mentioned, culture, it's a huge difference. But I think we should really not only to be aware and accept diversity, we have to celebrate our diversity, because it's good to be different. It's very important to be yourself. We don't need to pretend who we are. I'm Beata, and I want to be Beata. And it's only one Jim, one Michelle, one Vanya. So that's the beauty of us, the diversity. I can see lots of beauty in diversity. And one more tip, I know because my time is right over. So don't be scared or afraid of pausing. Let people think, let people adapt, process information, or even make decisions, because sometimes we are people are very jumpy, because if it's like pause for a couple seconds, we're just panicking, like, oh gosh, that means, the conversation is wrong, the communication is wrong, it's nothing more to say. No, don't rush, give people time. And of course, the most important thing, but probably everything is important for me right now, listen to understand, not to reply. And yes, it is very important, and it's privilege to see a soul in the world when lots of people are wearing a mask. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for sharing all your wisdom, Beata. And I love that you brought in the whole body language and facial expressions. And that's why I love video, because when we're talking across the country and across the world, to be able to see someone's facial expression or see their body language when they change.
Yes, like
yes,
open, close, or sad, or
and the thing is about body language is it's almost universal throughout every culture. So the cultural differences, we may not be able to understand with all the different accents, but their body is saying something. So even if you don't understand the words, you can do, okay.
Yes, that's what I mentioned, like the body expression, the facial expression could tell us more than words. Yes. That's what you mentioned. It could be different to understand the accent, or maybe different languages. But once you see the person, you know more. You can see more, you can read more. And I'm always saying, like we can read from people's eyes.
Yes. And I mean, I love traveling the world, because that's one of the things I do, is being able to read body language so quickly. And that, as you said, ask more questions. If you don't understand, ask more questions and never assume. And with this entire world opening up as it did through the whole COVID explanation, it exploded us through the world. So speakers are speaking around the world from their homes. And that is why when you said that body language and to ask more questions, it's important that people who like us who speak around the world, and all the other people who are on the next 3 days, basically, realize that we need to celebrate the diversity, but to understand that we're all coming from different cultures and different realities. And so the power of the pause is magical. No matter what language it is, let it sit. Count to 3 if you have to. And then listen to understand, not to reply. Those are huge lessons that you shared with us today, Beata. And and that is why you had technical difficulties, because you were able to squish your 10 minutes into under 4 minutes.
Right, that's good. Because I was thinking about the time. I know, we've got time limit, but thank you so much. I tried my best as short as possible, but
no,
I'm available.
You did wonderful. And so now we're going to go into the discussion, and Dawn will be leading the Q&A. So Beata will connect with you on social media also, YouTube, Feng Chua, and happy Q&A.
Well, welcome. That was such great stuff. And again, the whole discussion around listening and asking questions. I once had somebody tell me that they had heard this, and so they were going to a function, and they just decided that they were just going to listen. They were just going to ask questions. They weren't going to say anything about themselves. And they later heard, like after the event, people saying, "Oh, so-and-so, they were like the most interesting person there." So just when you inquire, you become more interesting. So I would like to know, can you each of you share? Maybe we'll start with Fong, a practical tip for becoming a better listener.
Thank you very much for that. With regards to listening, one of the very first things I do is ask questions. When I'm listening to the person speak, I ask myself, what am I learning? What do I like? What do I not like? Once I start doing that, whether the speaker is amazing or the speaker is absolutely awful or whatever it is, I can still learn something, because I can go, I don't like that. I could do something different. Oh, I really like that. I'll put that into my presentation. So by constantly asking questions to yourself as you're listening, one, you'll pay better attention. And then two, you actually get more information out of the presentation, outside of the actual presentation as well. So
well, I really love that, because many of us, when we are listening, we're formulating another response.
Yeah.
And it's like what you describe is almost like a pattern interrupt to that habit that most of us have gotten into. So I really appreciate that. Beata, you're a practical tip for becoming a better listener.
It's ready to be here and now, and to focus 100% on the conversation. And as Frank mentioned, ask more questions. It's ready to follow the conversation and to clarify it on the way as it goes, just to make sure you are following the person, you are following the conversation, you do understand the content, and providing people really with like showing them attention, or like clarifying some points. I think it's like you are giving them reassurance, like you are interested in this conversation. It's not like, okay, I will wait. That could be like, yes, for some of us, it's absolutely fine, because that's the way how we function. But for others, could be seen as like, she's not interested. So when I'm engaging with the conversation, when I'm checking, or like I'm making sure I do understand, or I'm pointing the important points in the conversation, I'm providing like reassurance, like I'm here with you, I'm here for you, and we are here and now.
And that to me speaks to self-leadership, having the commitment to really caring. And so, Fong, you talked a lot about self-leadership, with respect to time and efficiency. What's your top self-leadership tip?
I think I shared my top tip, and that is to constantly mind feed. And the thing is, when it comes to our bodies, our minds, we understand the importance of working out every single day to keep ourselves physically healthy. But if we're physically healthy and our minds aren't healthy, then that doesn't help either. So we need to have both. So something I've been doing for a year or so now is I wake up in the morning very early, I go for my run, and when I go for my run, I'm listening to something that's going to help me become a better person, become a better leader, become a better business person. And that run is 20, 30 minutes long. So right off the bat, I'm doing two things at once, and I get to apply that and help myself become healthier, mindset-wise, and also body-wise.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for the both of you being here today, being part of the team, talking and sharing about your lessons. Absolutely fantastic stuff. We do have another case study speaker that just arrived. So Jim or Michelle, you want to introduce our next case study speaker? Thank you both.
There I am. Well, Paya Ratna, doctor, welcome. Well, he is a social, community development, and humanitarian worker with extensive experience in youth development and international affairs. And you're live streaming in from Nepal today.
Yes, thank you very much for the introductions.
Yes, thank you for
Nice
joining us,
meeting
and we
you,
look
all of
forward
you.
to your
Yes,
talk.
thank you. Yes, thank you very much.
We'll speak
Can you
to you
hear me?
after.
Am I audible?
Oh, you're very audible. It's perfect.
Okay, thank you very much.
Take the
Thank you very
stage.
much again, all our friends from around the world, and giving me the opportunity. And this is a great platform for us to meet again. And again, I'd like to thank you, Vanya Kaushik Foundation, for organizing such a wonderful series of discussion and dialogue where we meet the people and friends from around the world to discuss different issues. And warm greetings and namaste from Kathmandu, Nepal. And it has been a wonderful day today. It's a Friday night, and seeing you all of you again in this meeting again, and we have to discuss about leadership and communication. So I have heard that previous speakers have already gave a lot of their uh, their views and perspective, and how we should be go together, and they have focus on the quality of leadership and communications. That so my name is Dr. Priya Ratna Maharajan, and I'm the global president of International Youth Society, with having a global network of 149 countries. And the focus of our International Youth Society is to the collaborations and bringing the youths from around the world to the, come out in a global platform, share their views, ideas, and how we can make this world is wonderful through the communications and leaderships. These two issues are very important in order to go forward, as the communications between all of you, and even communication part of this global network, and also is part of the stream yard that we are being now discussing in this room, and it's a part of the communication that we are developing. And the leadership that we should be focusing is to bring our young people, who are the present and the future leaders. And this as we are the leaders from around the world, we are meeting here in this wonderful speakers, and we should have guide. We should guide the young people, and how we can bring these young people in the global platform, so that because they can in future uh, they can be top quality leaders, where they can guide other young people coming from different countries in the future. As we are the like a father, we should play a role as a parents. So if we can guide young people, that means our children, so they can grow very well, and they can also show their children a right path, so that the world will be a wonderful place, where there be good leaders that we are expecting from around the world, and that all of us, our efforts should be also to bring the good leadership quality among the young people around the world. So as we should collaborate, and the changes should be bring through these collaborations, as our world is not that big as before. It's a small, where we can meet in different platform, and we have the technology, and though we are staying in very far away, we are communicating this way during this pandemic. This Zoom meeting and this StreamYard, all kind of online virtual meeting is very much effective, and that we can communicate each other to share our ideas and give the idea to young people, guide them very properly, and with our own organizations and leaders who are representing here, that can be build our relations like friendships. And with this friendship, we can bring our relationship into the long-term basis, whereby we can work together and share each other, and with this kind of knowledge imparting to the young people around the world will be the only things that we can do it. So education is very important, and once if we can give ethicals and good education for young people, of course the young people will be not misled. So therefore, our duty and responsibility as our leaders and speakers, eminent speakers from around the world, that we should guide young people properly and bring back into the right track, so that they can go forward and guide the future leaders in this right path. So thank you very much again for this Vanya Kaushik Foundation for giving this platform for me to speak a few words and also to share. And I'm very happy, as the International Youth Society is always willing to work and collaborate for the changes that can we bring throughout the world. And I'm always be there for you. Thank you very much again. Good night.
Thank you, Dr. Ratna. And we'll have Don McGrath come on and ask you the same two questions he asked the other two case study panelists. So we'll love to hear more from you.
There we go. I got to click a couple buttons, Dr. Ratna. Thank you so much for your contribution today and for sharing your thoughts. So the last couple of speakers I asked about, because listening as an important trait keeps coming up, the importance of listening. So I would love you to share with us your top tip for becoming a better listener for those who want to lead more effectively.
Yes, listening is one of the most important. That listening is the learning. Those who listen and without talking, listening very carefully, using your all 5 senses, that will be with more concentration. So that is listening is a learning. That's the most important things that our forefathers and our teachers and all our leaders has been practiced. And so these days, our listening practices has been less, rather than most people are talking more than listening. So that's our lacking. So I think rather than speak more, and we should listen more. So once you listen more means that your concentration, your learning, knowledge will be very much improved. That can be fast, you can develop. So therefore, we should listen. That as students, if they listen to the teachers, yeah, they are the bright students. So in this way, we are the leaders. We should listen, and learning is not the end of the things. That not the age is the difference. Even though how old we are, we still should be listening. So there's no age bar for listening. Thank you.
So I love what you said about listening with all your senses. I think that's very good. One of the other speakers talked about really being present with all of your senses. So I'd like to, another thing that keeps coming up in leadership is leading yourself first. Leading yourself first and getting clarity, and then and only then can you lead others. So I'd love to know your top tip for self-leadership.
Yes, doctor. It's if you want to show the path, you should know your first. If you don't know how to, if you do not know the right path, how you can lead. So leading is most important. That means you have to realize first. You have to enlighten first. If you enlighten yourself, you can enlighten others. So in the same way, if you want to become leader, you must first become, and you should pass this test as a leadership. So there are a lot of good quality of leaderships. That means listening is one of the good quality to become a leader. So therefore, one who listen, and one who care of others, and one who lead the others rightful path, that's the most important.
Well, thank you so much for sharing what you shared today and entertaining my questions. Again, thanks for being part of this summit. Really do appreciate everything you brought and all the speakers. So thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Dan. So you have been wonderfully moderating this summit, and we are working very hard for these 2 days. And wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Nepal. See you again.
Well, this summit is coming to a close, and as you know, on the main page, it says, communication leads to community. Today we focused on education, educators, and tomorrow we'll be focused on corporate teams. So each speaker, if you haven't noticed, is a representation from around the globe, and they're all discussing their problems and solutions based around leadership and communication. And Dr. Don here and and Bill, they created something to help simplify communication, very quick communication among people when you're meeting as in networking meeting, especially, or here online and things like that. But I wanted to make sure I mentioned that the foundation that you are watching this, that is with the sponsoring with the 6-minute webinar, they're all about creating opportunities for the people and the causes that they're helping. So they do water conservation, rainwater harvesting in drought areas, education and empowerment of communities. So by being a part of this summit, you're helping raise the money, raise the funds so that they can keep continuing on these projects. I thank you all for being a part of this entire beautiful communication community that we had today. Hope you all join us tomorrow. And thank you so much for allowing me to be part of this.
Well, I want to say hats off to Michelle and Jim.
Yes.
The puppeting
Amazing.
that went on. I mean, how many times have we been to a summit where it goes way off schedule, and you know, this was like one of the best run summits that I have ever seen.
Same here.
Let me-
Absolutely amazingly organized and amazingly done. And thanks to you, Michelle, and thanks to you, Jim. Your makeup has done really well.
And Donna,
Well-
behind the scenes, Donna. was-
Oh yeah, I've got to
yeah.
say something here. Everything that went well was all Michelle, and everything that went bad was all me. So I own it. But I've got to invite some people behind the scenes who were critical, and that is a producer and host of the Messages of Inspirational Stories at E360 TV. That's Donna Guinois. There she is. And I'm going to see if we got enough room here to add Michaela Vidal. Yeah, we can. We squeezed her right in there. And Michaela is also the host.
And Donna, it's truly
Michaela-
amazing. Thank you so much.
Michaela is a host administrator, helps us with our social media on the Messages of Inspirational Stories. And I just want to say very, very quickly, Mr. Bill Heinrich is going to be joining us sometime next week. But our topic next week is living in love and releasing fear.
Absolutely.
Because, Bill's a subject matter expert on that. In fact, I have his book right here, The 7 Levels of Truth. You can get it on Amazon. And it's a great book. But most importantly, we got so much fear, hatred, and division in this old world. We need to learn how to love one another, respect one another, and most importantly, be there for each other in their hour of need. And as you can see, all these good folks here, they were with me during my hour of need during this summit. Oh my goodness. But Donna, I just want to give you a chance to say a couple of words. But most importantly, thank you for all the support that you did behind the scenes.
Oh, well, it was my pleasure to be here and be a part of this. So I'd like to thank, Vanya, Don, Bill, of course, E360 TV, Aaron Imus, Jim, everybody, Michelle, you guys, Michaela, you went above and beyond in making this an incredible summit and a timely summit. And that is absolutely huge. And to all the speakers who were here today, holy cow, what impactful information you gave us. Thank you all so much.
And Michaela, I know you're my granddaughter. You and Ruben, you guys together got 6 kids. So if you just like say a word or two, we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, I would just like to thank everybody. Y'all made it so easy. Especially Michelle, you can just flow. I'm like, you got it. You did really good.
All those years on stages, it helps you tap dance really quickly.
Yeah, I was like, she's good.
Yeah, she gave me a lot of helpful tips behind the scene, Michelle did. And, one of the things we want to make sure we cover while we got a couple of minutes left is the fact that the 6-minute webinar, we endorse it here because this is the real deal. I give you my word, the 6-minute webinar, if you're looking out there and you're struggling in your business, or if you need to give a presentation, whatever it is, to be able to share with anybody, to your ideal client, you really need the 6-minute webinar. You have my word on that, ladies and gentlemen.
One of the themes that came up again and again and again was the right words at what?
The right time.
Right time.
Right time.
The right
Right
time.
audience. Right audience.
Right audience, right
Absolutely.
words, right time. And so really the 6-minute webinar is the tool.
Absolutely.
It is the
So-
tool, the technology that just makes it so easy. You don't have to, it'll get your words and put them in the right place at the right time so that you connect with your right audience. Vanya?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, you were going to say something.
So no, in the end, as we are closing soon, so I just have a one message to all of our audience and all of us. So Vanya Kaushik Foundation working for water conservation and rainwater harvesting plantation, and we are really inviting all of you guys to participate, volunteer with us, and support the cause with the funds or whatever you feel like, because this is the basic thing which we are working on, and we are looking forward to all of you, our audience who are listening us. It's going to be an amazing when you see that what exactly we are doing and struggling with, and basically the people who are struggling right now these days, or every time, every single day, every single minute, with the water scarcity, which is really a harsh truth for all of us. So it would be great if you guys um, follow our page as well as follow us.
So how does
for-
somebody do that, Vanya? How does somebody get involved?
So you guys can connect with us through the social media, Facebook page, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever you feel like. And apart from that, you can mail us vanakaushikfoundation@gmail.com. So it will be more easier to get connected. Yes.
Excellent. And we'd also like to invite anyone who wants to understand more about the 6-minute webinar.
Absolutely.
We have a special offer, two. One, if you want to just test drive 6-minute webinar, and if you're curious and want to take it to the next level, go to 6minutewebinar.com / actually, I want the other one, Jim. It's free trial.
Okay.
30-day free trial. So 6minutewebinar.com / 30-day free trial. Jim is going to have it down there, and you'll get a chance to test drive ScriptPal. It's our masterclass. So you get 30 days access to this incredibly powerful masterclass. So take us up on that. Go experience it. If you want to come to our boot camp and go through, like with Bill and I have the big party that we have, you got to see a little bit of Bill and I in action, but come to the boot camp. We have a special offer. Jim is throwing the URL right now.
Just
absolutely.
go and just enroll yourself or register yourself. It's truly an amazing technology which Bill, Jim, and Don has created. It's truly an amazing technology which actually going to help you out with your business, with your leadership skills, and with your communication skills throughout your journey.
And I'd like to add that as a speaker and a coach, I meet so many people who go into networking meetings or into Zoom calls and they do, I don't know what I'm going to talk about. It's your business. It's your business. But I don't know what I'm going to talk about. What they created with the 6-minute webinar will release all the stress that you get every time you have to step up and talk about who you are. The 6-minute webinar will clear your stress. Do you understand that? It's a stress reliever. So check it out, because I laugh when I read it. I'm like, how did I not invent that? I'm really upset with myself for this, because it's
truly the moment I got to know about the 6-minute webinar, I was truly so amazed that how I or anybody else didn't thought about it. So here we are, the founders of 6-minute webinar. They did it. They did it, and actually going to help you out with the stress reliever. Absolutely, I agree with you, Michelle.
And then you can go into every meeting you go to, like Fong does, singing in your head because you're so relaxed.
Yeah. And the beautiful thing of it is, ladies and gentlemen, like when I was on Vanya Summit, I saw speaker after speaker after speaker saying, I'm this, this is who I am, I'm that, I'm the other, and I started out mine with just a simple phrase. I just said, during my presentation, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to share with you 3 proven ways that you can make your community a better place to live. That sounds a lot better than I'm a speaker, I'm a coach, because it has no value to the people out there. Plus, there's a warning. Subconsciously, people out there in the TV land, they might think that you're elevating yourself above them. That's a major disconnect.
Well, I was thinking, because you almost want to start every time you go into something saying, everyone that you're going to hear today is a coach. Okay, speak.
Oh.
So this way, with the 6-minute webinar, you separate and elevate yourself so that people recognize you for the expert that you are. And that's the power of the 6-minute webinar. So you may not know anything about me. My name is Michelle Moras, but I'm encouraging you, if you find who I am, take my word of advice. Don't listen to these people who invented it, okay? Take my advice. It will save your life. It will save you so much time and stress. And if you're out there ever thinking about writing a book, using that 6-minute webinar will help you write the introduction for your own book. It helps you clarify your thoughts, okay? So don't listen to the people who did it. Listen to the people from the outside. It rocks.
Where can I get it? I'm on it.
She is absolutely right. Whether you are a student, whether you are an entrepreneur, whether you are a professor, whether you are an author, whatever you are, this 6-minute webinar is going to help you out and save your time and absolutely the money.
Well, and the other thing is, if you're going in for a job interview, using a 6-minute webinar will make you look like a shining star. And so that's why
prepare your script, prepare your speeches, prepare everything with the 6-minute webinar, and you are the leader.
We had one client use it to get dates.
Yes.
Where was it? Where was it 50 years ago when I was looking for dates?
For dating?
Jim is going to try now. Absolutely. After mentioning the date.
We're out of time, ladies and gentlemen. I've always been off, you know. But ladies and gentlemen,
so much.
Most importantly, as we wrap up the show, we're out of time. Please go to the 6minutewebinar.com/free trial. You can download that today. You can fill it out. And after you fill it out, within 1 minute, you will have your 6-minute webinar in your email box, in your hands, under your control. And that's compliments of Dr. Don McGrath and Mr. Bill Heinrich. On behalf of everyone here, Michelle, I'm just so indebted to you for the beautiful job you did as a MC. Mr. Bill and Dr. Don, it's always great being with you guys. And Michaela and Donna, thank you so much for all the good work you did behind the scenes to help us. Vanya, it's our pleasure. And ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back tomorrow. Same time, same place, you know, same station, and you still got to put up with me. So I'll be here too. But hope you have a wonderful evening wherever you are, or morning or day, whatever it might be. But most importantly, remember to love yourself first, then you can love others. And most importantly, enjoy yourself. Bless you all. I'm Jim Grant. Bye-bye.